Hello.
And we're live! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What is this madness? Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Naturally One. Welcome back to Naturally One.
I am providing a very unique commodity.
Please tell me the names of your companions.
Who, what, when, where, and why? I don't know if you've captured Hal yet.
Bob is sleeping outside and boiling acorns and having a good time.
Hey, how's our patient doing? Still alive back there, buddy?
Bob, I want you to roll me some percentile dice. Not only is there no pulse, he's cold.
I guess that's one less thing we have to drag around.
I got horns. I got some teeth, kind of sharp. I got some tricks up my sleeve.
And make sure that we don't cut ourselves on glass. This one's mostly
Can we
dead.
use one of the dead bodies to break out the rest of the jagged glass at one of the windows so we don't hurt ourselves?
If you look close enough, you might notice that his eyes are moving so fast that you wonder how he can see anything. And I'm going to say, this is for hurting my friends. And I take my dagger and put it right underneath his chin. Right.
Actually kill him?
Oh yeah, he's dead. I want him.
Oh!
Small human in a big city for the first time ever in his life.
Let me guess, the highlight of your life is what you're gonna do in order to make a name for yourself, maybe one day even slay some really cool monsters. Just like every one of those guys over there.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll be here next year. I'm gonna climb that ranking as high as I can, and I ain't gonna stop until I reach as high as I possibly can get. Feeling okay there, Dan?
Oh my gosh. Well, feeling okay is relative, because guess what? We are live. I didn't actually give you guys like a real countdown, but here we are.
That's crazy.
I know.
Bucking fonkers, as the kids say.
It really is.
Recap me.
Yes, that's true. Chlor is finally back. We got Dave. We got Dave.
Right.
Yay! Hail, hail, the gang's all here.
Been a long time since Chlor's been here.
Feels like we were just wandering around in the sewers for forever looking for Chlor until we could find Chlor eventually at some point. Mm-hmm. Convenient.
Sometime tonight, hopefully, if you guys don't just go the complete wrong direction.
That's what we do.
Why do you? Why are you saying it like
change
that?
the direction.
I mean, I don't fudge things. I just let nature take its course. If Dave's just a spectator for his session this session, and you will all have to apologize to him. Okay.
Isn't the number one rule?
Come find me.
Help! Isn't the number one rule of being a good DM always say yes? It's kind of like improv.
You know, when you're
yes
able to go to the
right
city
now.
that you prepared, suddenly the city is moved to a different location, and everything that you prepared is now in a different city. That's how it works, right?
I mean, yeah. Worst comes to worst, everything's Mortal Engines. You just pick up the cities and move them.
All right, recap time?
Recap time. Let's recap.
The salted hallway. The party continued down the hallway when they reached a T crossing. Rinningham urged them to go east, which was right. The right inward direction. It led them to a slight drop, where there was a distinct lack of smell, to the point where it was difficult to even smell their own scents, which is a bit weird. Rinningham prestidigitated a low-key shower of sparks, which lit coal dust on fire. That was great. Theo avoided catching on fire, but the others did not. Good job him, finally managing a save for once. The fire also made breathing more difficult. Pin, because Pin is smart, and we rely on Pin for many things involving intelligence, sussed out that the environment was low on oxygen. So, operating under the assumption that that was unlikely to be the location that Chlor would be down, the party turned around. Time well spent. Then the texture of the flow down the hallway that they proceeded down on the other end of a T curve, or a T intersection, turned very weird. It felt almost like sand, even though it was uneven. And Bob was familiar with the phenomenon of things lighting up inside the sand. He felt that it was similar to a glowing lichen from the wetter, darker forests he traveled through, and advised that the party not harass it. Ask it if it likes to pay taxes or if it votes. The light eventually dimmed enough to cast shadows on the wall. Theo and Rinningham were both intrigued, and there was some shoveling that happened. It was discovered there were 3 layers, which was pretty cool. Top layer was flavorless, but it had a bitter aftertaste.
I forget who tasted
otherwise-
that. Who licked the soil again?
mushrooms.
I think it was Rinningham.
That sounds right.
Could
I
have
think it
been.
was Rinningham.
I legitimately do not remember. I'll have to play the tapes.
They continued onward and upside downward until the space opened up into an open area. The lichen was gathered at the top and cast light out about it. There were a bunch of glowing mushrooms, the tallest of which was about 4 feet tall. The lichen was coming from the mushrooms. Theo did something smart for once and found a couple entrances or exits from the mushroom room. By feeling along the wall with his foot, Rinningham decided for the group that they should continue through the smaller of the openings. So they squeezed their way through it. Penn, meanwhile, checked out the mushrooms and took a bite using a knife that he found sitting around the area after the gang drew the conclusion that someone had been around there and eating mushrooms and concluded that they might taste good sauteed with garlic. Rinningham was awesome and marked the walls for everyone. Very smart move on his part.
Circles.
They went down the westmost hallway, which actually led southward eventually, and found a yellow lichened hallway that seemed to reflect motion via light pulse. And then they noticed a shadow, which returned the pulse. And then there was some sort of like mushroom man thing that they had to fight.
Mushroom Man. Take me by
Mushroom Man.
Yeah, he took me. Don't I have his skull as my spell focus?
So,
bad mushroom
I mean,
dude.
I think it's more
yeah,
like
basically.
a cat.
Yeah.
I was discovered by Bob communing with a creature. No, was it Bob? I don't know. One of the characters communing with the creature. I think it was Rinningham actually. Rinningham psychically connected with the creature and learned that it didn't want to fight the party and that it was connected with the lichen too. So the lichen was damaged as the creature was damaged. Bob went down, unfortunately. Penn stabilized Bob, who had a brief moment of terror after remembering what happened. And then Rinningham, at the end of the fight, heard the fading whispers of why as the creature's consciousness faded away. Party retreated to the mushroom to sleep. Theo kept watch, and we all leveled up.
Yes. So, with the leveling up, real quick, I want to say I need to still roll hit points for Bob and Penn. So, Penn, welcome in. Bob, I think we need to roll hit points real fast. We need to get you leveled up.
Actually,
Chlor, I've already worked with. Rinningham, we did right before the session here. And then Theo, we had planned on a previous session. And so Theo and I, or Sam and I had done it for Theo. So, Senor Jim, we'll start with you.
Okie dokie. See, it's a D8, right?
For a druid, believe so?
I'm thinking that's what it is.
It sounds right. I'm realizing there's nothing actually on here that tells you what
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
traits. I would have expected to be under like the class features or something like that, but
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
All right. Let's assume
Really
that it's
weird
an
that it
8.
doesn't. You're right. It's really strange.
it is a D8. I confirmed it. I confirmed it. You know, so that we're not cheating. All right. Remember how if I'll tell you if it's min or max.
Right.
Otherwise, you have to choose between yours or mine. I just rolled. It is neither min nor max.
Yeah, I'll take mine.
What did you roll?
5.
All right, add 5 hit points to your total. Mine was another 7.
Oh.
It were, but that's the way it be sometimes. And Penn the Necromancer. It is time for us to roll your hit points. Are you willing and able? Are you present mentally, emotionally? Which is also a D8. Is there like no class with a D6 as your hit die anymore? Is that just not a thing? Shelby, you there? I guess we'll circle. Shelby's is a D6, so there is that. Anyway, Rinningham, Radcliffe House, the 4th.
I don't like the way that sounds.
You had mentioned something a moment ago about your spell focus being a skull.
Oh, yeah, or
you're
part of the husk or something.
Yes. Right? So if you remember, you and I had talked very briefly about some specifics around this.
I don't remember.
Oh well, I will remind you then.
Please do.
That as you guys all settled down for your long rest,
like a trippy
much
dream,
needed
maybe?
long rest.
Sorry to interrupt, DM. I just discovered something, and before I forget
What
it,
did
I
you
wanted to tell everyone.
just discover?
So, if you want to know what your hit dice are, go to Features and Traits, go under Class Features, and it'll say, like, your class and features. Click on Hit Points, and it'll pull up a little sidebar that'll tell you what your dice is per level.
Oh. That's
Sorry.
why doesn't it just show it there? That makes no ding dong sense to not
Don't know. I
just put
didn't.
it there.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to tell everyone before I forgot. It seemed important.
Okay. It definitely was, and that is appreciated. Like, very appreciated. Anyway, Renningham. As you guys all settle in, trying to get some rest from your rather violent ordeal, the slight glow and natural pulse of the mushrooms in the middle of this kind of quiet grotto-like area just kind of resonates with you. And as you're just kind of laying there trying to rest your head, and you feel your own breathing slow, and you hear that of your compatriots kind of slow to their slumbery snores, you find that you can't really move very well, but it doesn't bother you so much because the mushrooms are there and it's a faint, comfortable glow. But the pulse kind of starts to grow dimmer and then brighter, and dimmer again, and then brighter. And it's a very soothing as your vision begins to kind of blur with the pulsing of these mushrooms, before you see one shadowy form kind of pull itself out and stand in front and kind of shake itself off, and you see kind of faint glowing spores off of this humanoid but formless entity. And then you see another one slightly shorter, a little bit thinner. Another one kind of stands up and seems to loom over the centermost clump of the mushrooms, and just kind of towers over even the other two forms. And he has glowing specks, but they don't really have a face that you can make out. They don't really seem to create a shadow. They don't seem to have any sorts of reflections. They're just these wispy, shadowy forms. And you get the sensation in the back of your head of, this is a peaceful place, and you have found the right place to rest. And for a reason you can't really explain, as a tear kind of starts to form in your eyes, you begin to feel again the sensation of why, of loss, of I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here. And the shadow forms are kind of making like comforting gestures, and you get the feeling of a different tone that's saying, it's okay, we're here. Hey, we're listening, hey. And it's all kind of a competition, and you're almost like an observer in your own mind as these forms try to console the echoing, pained voice in the back of your head that's just over and over and over. Why? I don't want to, I don't mean to, I don't want to hurt you. Hurt. It just echoes and kind of reverberates before you blink, and it's gone. All of it. The sensation in the back of your head, what you were seeing in front of you with the forms from the little grotto in the middle with the mushrooms. But you find that a skull. It's definitely humanoid. It's a little long. The texture is kind of rough in most areas, but it's not coarse where it's hurting your hands to hold. You find that you are actually kind of almost wrapped around it a bit, holding it, clutching it tightly to you. And it appears to be what you felt was a small amount of tears. You notice that on its surface, it's actually quite wet, and your eyes are kind of sore.
It sucked my juices?
More like you feel
I
like
leaked.
back when you were... Yes, you leaked. You leaked hard. It feels like when you would weep, you know, when your parents would take a toy away, when something was taken from you that you really, really wanted and needed at that moment. That was the thing that was
very strong
what
emotions.
Your mind was wrapped on, was taken from you, and you relax your hands finally and find that they're tense and they're sore from gripping onto this skull. But the echoey sound that you felt and the echoey voice that had kind of lingered in the back of your head after your previous day's encounter is absent, and it's almost uncomfortably absent. Not that you had it there for very long, but it is noticeable that the little reverberation that had been there is gone. which as of Verdan is a little bit strange, considering you're used to being able to project your thoughts out or getting some thoughts projected back at you. It's like a friend that you didn't know was gone is now, it's now hitting you that they're gone. It's still nighttime. The rest of the party is still resting or just kind of like quietly observing if they're, whichever who's on watch. I forget who had decided who was on watch first, but Theo, roll me a perception check.
Okie doke. A 23, DM.
You remember that Renningham had an interesting experience the day before. You knew that he even took a couple hits, and he's not used to that. Most of what you notice with regards to this chunk of the night is that he's not sleeping soundly, but he never turns to face you. He never turns in your direction, and it's just one of those out of the rest of the party who seems to be kind of chill. Renningham definitely isn't, until suddenly you just kind of see him take a deep breath and relax. Renningham, with that relaxing breath, that is the moment you woke up and realized that you were crying, and you feel that sense kind of in the back of your head, in the back of your mind. And what you do from here is up to you, whether you try to just cuddle up with this newfound thing that you're clutching around, or just go back to sleep, or question why. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Am I detecting any kind of like latent consciousness from this thing?
At this time, no. Do you try to talk to it like telepathically, or what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to detect if there's any kind of consciousness still present in this, because I mean it's a skull, right? Like there's no
skull. It's a husk, but it's definitely like in the shape of the head that you picked up. It's reminiscent, but not exactly the same.
Are there still? So yeah, no, I'm trying to detect if there's any kind of remnant consciousness.
Okay. So what do you?
I just kind of reach out. And
it's like a hello.
It's kind of inquisitive. Yeah. Hello.
Roll me a just straight charisma check.
Ooh. That is a 23.
Holy monkeys. Okay. You are familiar with the sensation of when you try to reach out and someone's mind is blocking you. You're used to the sensation of when a mind has heard you and they talk back. This fits somewhere close to, your message that you sent to it was received by something. It wasn't blocked, but you don't really get a ping back. You're used to just projecting out, even because usually Verdan, it's kind of vague on whether or not you have to it says you have to see the target, but at the same time you could project your mind out type deal. It's a little bit wibbly wobbly with some of that. You know what it's like when there's nothing there to listen. You projected at this, and it definitely didn't feel like nothing was listening. You just don't get a reply.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna I'm gonna try to go back to sleep, but I'm not gonna be holding it. I'm gonna stuff it in my bag, and just try to go back to sleep. If I wasn't the one on watch, I don't think I was the one on watch.
No, it was Theo. He was keeping an eye on you all, and only really noticed that you had a restless night with their ridiculously high perception check. Holy monkeys! Everyone else gets their level up, and Theo, as you've been exploring. And as you've been kind of sitting back and watching, is as you reflect on some of these things that you never in your wildest dreams imagined going to the big city would grant you the experiences of, exploring strange depths underground. Here you are, and you've witnessed way more death. You've witnessed way more ingenious uses of words and powers that life back home, they'll think you're making it all up. But to you, it resonated pretty strongly.
Oh, wait. Sorry. My apologies. I'm completely interrupting. But yes, there is something special that happens at third that I completely forgot about. I do get the Radiant Soul ability.
Oh, for being an Azamar, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Look
Gains
at you here.
Glimmering eyes and 2 incorporeal wings, and for 1 minute until the end of the bonus action, you have a flying speed of 30.
You literally have angel wings. Look at you.
Yep.
Sorry, just chiming in here. I love Azamar. They're so cool. Like all 3 types, just so cool in their own ways. I think that the wings.
I've got fairy wings.
Fairy wings, okay.
Okay, so you are defining them as fairy wings. Got it. They're not angelic
What else
feathery
are you
wings.
gonna
You're
call
going for
them?
fairy wings.
They're incorporeal wings.
Well, that's the thing, is fairy wings have two very distinct connotations. It's like the mosquito-y type style fairy wings or the butterfly style fairy wings. So
I
you're
think
gonna have to.
mosquito-y.
You think mosquito-y, where they're just like the long, teardrop?
That's what I
teardrop.
think of.
I love that.
Okay.
That's great.
I was. If you hadn't defined one and you went to use this power, there was going to be some percentile dice rolls as you just like poof out your wings.
Well, now they are incorporeal, so it's not like you're going to be running into stuff.
It's more about what everyone sees when you pop them out.
Oh, reactions. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. If you hadn't defined it, we were going to have a very interesting moment when it was defined. So,
hey, check it out! He's packing some butterfly wings.
Basically, yeah.
Let's stick through him. Let's put him on a board.
I mean,
That or can
if
be-
it works.
Hey, Pen! We need to roll hit dice, but we'll come back to you.
Shelby!
Theo, you feel strangely in tune with the surroundings that you're in. In fact, you almost feel a little bit more at home underground here in the grotto than you did in the city for the few days you were there.
Kind of wild down here. Like a forest, but not. A mushroom forest.
And in that time, you suddenly just, you get that sense of things you've learned from watching people, things you've learned just from feeling out your surroundings in a way that you've never had to before and flexing those muscles. And as you've acquired some of your new skills and abilities, it just feels right in the moment. Just kind of give you...
Thank you, appreciate it. He's learning.
Um,
So everyone knows, his Cure Wounds is literally just him gonna be like, alright buddy, that's enough, time to get up and moving. No real magic here, just encouraging words.
grabs it by the collar, slap, wake up, buddy. And as he does, it's like, plus 3 hit points, minus 1. Plus 4 hit
The
points, minus 1.
somatic component is just a pat on the shoulder.
Come on, kid! Chicken baby. Bob, as you're sleeping, you just grow in your attunement to your natural abilities in a way that you hadn't growing up. And, you've lived already a varied life, but it's not until meeting up with these
ruffians,
whatever you want to call them, because they are who they are.
They hang around in cities and stuff. Ugh.
Yep. And yet you feel more connected with your heritage in a way that just brightens up your insides a touch. Good night's sleep. Pen, Shelby, we need to roll hit dice for you. We need an extra. Need you to roll d6. I'm gonna roll d6. Then you can choose mine or yours. How does that sound? All right.
Is it 4?
All right. So you have to choose yours or mine, and mine is neither min nor max.
Mine.
Okay. Take the 4. Add that to the rolled hit points on your character sheet, and you'll be at, looks like, 26 hit points.
What was yours?
It was also a 4, so that I've rolled.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I've matched everybody. I want to say except Theo and Jim. I think or Theo and Bob. I matched everybody. That's interesting. I don't know how this works. I don't make the rules. Yep, add 4. All right. So, who takes second watch? Theo, you spend your first few hours kind of just reminiscing on things, and then you start shaking up somebody to take their quiet watch. Who do you poke and prod?
Bob went down earlier, so I think Theo would like to give him a break. Renningham did go through an awful lot, so I think that he would probably pick Penn, who was pretty perky after eating a mushroom anyway, so...
That is true. All right, so Penn, you are poked, prodded, and informed that it's your turn to rest and watch. Roll me a nature check.
19.
As you kind of continue to play there with the mushrooms and things, you think to some of your goals and some of the things that you've been muddling about and what you've wanted to achieve, and there is a part of you that has a morbid curiosity about fungi and their role in decomposition. And it's just a curiosity as you pop another piece in your mouth and keep an eye on things. Nothing seems amiss. It was just a roving curiosity of, these things eat dead things, and you have an affinity for dead things, and the thing that eats the dead things tastes good.
Should I become a fungi biologist?
You already seem like a pretty
Fungologist?
fun guy.
A mycologist?
Whatever.
I mean, Penn, you
It's
really have
Penn's
grown on us.
monologue. Penn's inner monologue is going to call himself a fungologist.
A fungologist. Yes, that would be amazing. Do it. Okay, yes. In fact, yes. Until you as Penn decide otherwise, you are a fungologist.
Because
Or that
I've
is a-
obviously tried like 5 different types of shrooms now, and clearly they're all edible for tieflings.
Clearly. All of them. Every single one.
No issues yet.
Hey, that's...
Works on my
Years
machine.
when I suddenly have
That you
radioactive
know
cancer.
of.
Hey, it's been almost 24 hours of, poking at and chomping on mushrooms, and nothing bad's happened yet.
Yet.
Great.
The rest of the watch goes without incident. Bob, Renningham, you both wake up feeling rested, full hit points, that sort of thing. Theo, you as well, because I think you took a couple hits as well from the creature, and
Yeah, Theo did. Theo was lucky. If Theo had taken one more massive hit, he would have gone down. Again.
it was not a pleasant experience, that's for sure.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
Doing what I can.
So it is now a time you can't tell, but you guys are rousing, feeling much better. What are you guys gonna try to do?
So, I'm trying to think of where.
I mean, we already determined that one of the hallways didn't have sufficient oxygen to really be a viable place for Chlor to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we were headed down the hallway that we were going down when we ran into Big Bad Mushroom Guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're skipping a step. You found the grotto from this mushroom grotto, and it was from here that you found the other hallway where Mushroom Guy
That's
was.
true. There were other exits that we could have taken. We took the smaller one, but there were more doors that we...
There's one other exit that you haven't traveled down, and you turned back from the one that you guys had gone down after facing
Mushroom Man.
Mushroom Man.
We have a couple options. We can either go back to the Lichen hallway that's no longer Lichen hallway and continue down that path, or we can try the other exit that we didn't take.
Well, we know it's back the way we came, kind of, and we know that down that way lies Mushroom Men. So let's just go down the path we haven't gone down, the road less traveled.
So poetic.
I know some poems.
I'm all right with that idea. That sounds like a plan to me.
One
I'm good
shroom,
with it.
2 shroom, red shroom, blue shroom.
I could have sworn I heard a story like that once upon a time. I think my little brother might have brought it home from school once.
Well, you're-
taught me some words from it.
Your brother must be educated in some very esteemed poetry.
He and my sister are both very, very smart. All right, so down the other hallway.
Who is the author of that book? I'm just curious.
Senor Suisse.
Senor Suisse. All right.
Okay then. Pick more shrooms?
Grief.
You are welcome to pick mushrooms, Pen. Carve off more slices, pick some shrooms, however you want to do it. Go for it.
Gonna start bagging it up. He's gonna sell it. Be an entrepreneur.
Just bag it and tag it.
Selling mushrooms. Oh no. We work for the police right now.
They're not illegal.
They
Illegal.
they're performance enhancers, all
Upon your
right?
cultural standards.
But yeah, we should just head down the good way.
Yeah.
As opposed
The good way?
The way that's not having the the road less traveled.
That's something.
Renningham, what's that sounds familiar. Who's that by?
Stan.
Stan.
One of the
Chris Warren.
classic stands, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
This one was Frozen Roberto, but Stan might be right.
I don't even know.
All right, so you guys take your time to leisurely pack up your things and get yourselves ready to go. Pen, you head off down to the mushrooms, and do you pick some of the small ones that are on the ground, and they're only about yay big, they're all bite-sized, or do you kind of carve some more out of some of the bigger shrooms? You remember from last time that as you carve them, give it a couple of seconds, and it begins to kind of seal up and slowly begins to grow back together. So if you don't take too large of a cut, it will kind of repair itself in a relatively short period of time.
I know those. I want a variety. We gotta see how this works on my gardening.
Okay, power leveling your botany of rooms. All right. Is it botany to grow shrooms, or is it still falling under fungology?
Mycology. Still mycology.
Fungology. We're gonna go with fungology.
I've never thought about that. I don't know.
I thought fungology was like how you arrange your chairs and your tables in your room.
Sure, let's go with that.
Or is that like martial arts? Fungology.
Oh my gosh.
Fung.
All right, we're gonna quit before Stuart hurts himself. So
apparently it's
Shelby...
literally just called cultivated mushrooms. That's botany gets its own botany, and shrooms get cultivated mushrooms.
Huh. Interesting.
Pen, roll me another nature check.
Yep. 7.
So you just kind of go and cut some pieces, and you collect some of them like a purple cap, but as you cut in, the flesh on the inside kind of has a soft yellow sponginess to it. Another one that's blue capped, kind of has a pinkish red inside. A green one that you kind of pick up, you can see the little remnants of tendril, rooty, fungal roots to wherever it was at the bottom. That has like a reddish color to it. They're all a little bit different as you pick the shades are all just a little different, but it's the inside never seems to match the outside. Yeah, and you collect roll me.
Healthy sample.
You get 14 decent sized chunks, and you can kind of
how many?
Pop each of them in 14. Plus there's a few you had before I think I put in your inventory. You had a couple before too. They were small bite-sized pieces. These are a little bit bigger than that, but not that matters a whole ton. All right, Theo and Renningham. The two of you are the ones who kind of sort of know best where the ways in and out of this room are. Theo, you the one finding it. Renningham would being right behind you last time as you guys are kind of going about. Renningham, you find your mark kind of where you had for the place you already head down. And looking down that hallway, you can still see the faint yellow glow a ways down of where the lichen began to kind of grow more prominently on the walls. And the color had been a bit greenish near where you were, and then kind of faded dark before glowing again yellow. This other hall, it's a little bit wider to get through. That's where you had picked the smaller of the two, but this one's a little bit wider. You don't have to kind of like squeeze your way through or anything like that. It is just kind of a quick duck and you're in, but there's no glow. There's no faint anything really off in the distance, and it's only a few feet in before there's really no light at all in this hallway.
Well, I can't see it all. Although, maybe this is a good thing, because the last time we saw something glowing, it was that mushroom feller.
Yes, I'm as long as it's not the same kind of color that we saw before, we should be fine. Probably.
Seems to be a thing with us. Probably gonna be fine.
Probably, yes.
Seems reasonable.
Seems legit.
Right. So as you kind of step in and make your way and get comfortable in this hallway, there are some sections that the taller of you can pen every so often. You kind of feel like one of your horns just like lightly scrape part of the ceiling. I think you're actually the tallest in the party.
Am I?
No, I mean,
right now I might be.
Some people are. Yeah. There's no way to tell who's the tallest.
5'9".
Really.
I can tell you who's the shortest.
6'1". Okay.
There's no one knows.
Okay, I actually, for some reason, I thought Penn was the tallest, but yeah, it looks like it's Theo.
I'd say Penn's like 5'8".
Okay.
5'9". Yeah, Theo's 6'1". You made Theo 6'1".
I know I did. I'm shocked that he's taller than Penn and Bob.
Yeah, and Bob didn't put a height down on their character sheet. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
I was
sorry. Here, let me
like
give
Bob
him a
as
height
being,
of
like,
like
tall and
5'7" or something.
Okay, well, whatever. I mean, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. I see the attention to detail you guys take in your character sheets. It's fine. Okay.
What I'm hearing is you want a 10-page backstory with like all the details from me. I'll get on it, boss.
Yeah, songs you heard growing up, everything.
Okay, fine.
Inspiration to whoever turns them in. Just saying, because I don't typically throw inspiration around. You throw it. Actually, it's funny because Sam for Theo threw in a actually rather thorough descriptions of Theo's backstory. So, Theo, you also happen to experience where there's a couple spots. You guys aren't moving very fast as you first walk in. Before you kind of feel it brush up against your head, not hard enough to hit your hurt or anything like that, as this ceiling appears to be much lower and rougher. However, neither of you who are up front and first in there can see, so who wants to shuffle around and take a marching order?
If you would like having dark vision, I could slide to the front of the group or up close to the front.
You know, I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Shuffle, 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 slide around, move past folks. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Oh, here we go. Dark vision up front.
So you guys are just going to kind of slowly start walking forward.
What do your dark eyes see?
They see... I don't know. I have to defer to my DM.
Perception check.
Perception check, huh?
You see 6 people, all kind of ethereally
That's a 16.
present. Okay. You look down the hallway, and you can see that the ceiling kind of is very uneven and very rough hewn. The halls that you've been in prior had, the sandy floor or the loamy kind of soft silt. There was the lichen. This, good probably 15, 20 feet out, goes to rough, uneven rock. The walls maintain that. It's no longer as uniform with a flat bottom and arching, cavernous hallways. This is just it's very rough. It's much wider than the other path was. It's about 15 feet wide after you get a couple feet down. But there's stalagmites and stalactites just kind of there in this dark tunnel. The smell, the soft, not necessarily sweet, but earthy mushroom fungal smell of the grotto, as you continue to head down, starts to fade off. And instead it just kind of slowly turns into a more musty, cavernous, smell. There's no real moisture in the air. It's not overly dry or anything, but there is still, it's not like the coal hallway where smells were dampened. It's just kind of your average cave again.
What's my cave again?
That's what we see.
No one else has. What, Hen, do you have dark vision too, or no? I forget. I keep forgetting if Hen has dark vision. Okay. Can you roll me a perception check?
No. I have the 6.
Okay. So we know Bob is in front. We know that it kind of widens out to about 15 feet wide as you guys head down. Are you guys kind of in an arrowhead, just where Bob's in front? How are you guys oriented heading through this hallway?
I'm probably in the back.
Okay.
As per usual.
Theo would be around the middle of the group. Since he can't really see very well, he needs to stick near people that can.
So it really comes down to Renningham. Are you behind Hen and just kind of hoping to catch a glint of the shiny horns? Or is Pen in front of you?
I'm following the horns.
Okay.
From what I can see, there's enough light. I don't have dark vision, but
no. It's just very, very dark. Occasionally you get a little tiny glint or something off of someone's equipment.
I'm staring at people's equipment?
Oh yeah, you are checking out that equipment. Pen's horns? Yeah, you know. This hallway slowly begins to feel like it has a pitch upwards. For the first time in a while, you're on a pathway that feels like it's going upwards. Because the coal tunnel felt kind of level, and it was the other direction that felt downwards as the silty loam began to become more prominent. This definitely feels like an incline. And another 60 feet, 80 feet, and it's steep enough that you can really start feeling it in your calves. Not enough that you're having to use your hands to kind of pull your way up, but it's definitely a bit of a workout. Another 100 feet or so, and your ears start to pop as the pressure change begins to be more evident. And I want Bob to roll me another perception check.
What do we see with my dark vision eyeballs? We see a whole bunch of 17s. They're everywhere.
You begin to start noticing in the ceiling especially that there are pockets that are about 3 to 4 feet wide, where as you glance up you can kind of see that the tunnel It's almost like a tunnel that goes up, and some of them curve, some of them go straight up until you kind of can't see where they end off. Every 15, 20 feet or so, somewhere along, you just kind of see like a round or just off round bucket in the ceiling. And then you begin to see some more that are slightly angled in to the sides of the hallway. And there's a very, very faint chittering noise.
DM, I got a question.
I have an answer.
Like, as we're approaching closer to these, even with not really being able to see, is Theo aware of these, like, weird holes that they're passing by?
They are up. They're not on the ground or anything.
Chittering noise. Can you hear the chittering?
Jim, being up front, is the first to notice any of the chittering. But if you would like to roll a perception check, yeah, you can try to go for it. And you're listening, so it's not going to be at disadvantage or anything like that.
Okay.
What's the pitch of the chittering?
Why doesn't it say what that is? Hold on.
That's
a nat 20. Plus a
That's
4
the
is a
first nat 20 of the night.
Yeah.
On Theo listening in on what's going on.
Tonight on Theo's ears.
Actually, this works out really well because Theo is right behind Jim. Or Bob. Jim Bob.
Jim Bob.
Jim Bob.
So I'm going to say Theo and Bob both roll nature checks.
Hey, that's exactly what I had my finger on. Well, I rolled a 13.
That is an 18.
Oh, wow.
You guys with these rolls tonight.
Beat the moose snot out of the druid. The guy who's supposed to know this stuff is standing around scratching his head going, oh, that's kind of familiar.
Look, man, Theo's a hunter. His specialty is beasts, so...
Beasts! Roasted beasts!
Roast beast! Carve it up, buddy.
So, we're going to start with Bob. Bob, you've been kind of guiding everybody as you've been heading through this hallway. And you were the first to hear the sound, and Theo immediately was like, hey, you hear that too? But you can't seem to spot anything that seems to be moving or anything that seems to be out of place distinctly. Theo, the most you can tell directionally about what's going on is it's either coming from... It's mostly coming from ahead. Bob, you would be the only person really who's... I mean, actually, Penn could have noticed. Penn, can you roll me a perception check real quick? Let's see how much you notice of the things in the ceiling and what you think of them.
11.
Looks like a stony cavernous tunnel. Cool. So yeah, you don't really notice that there's these pockets in the ceiling.
Did you say it was a cavernous tunnel in Estonia?
Yes, an Estonian cavern tunnel, yes.
Okay.
Better Estonia than Latveria. Dr. Doom!
Theo, you listen, you hear that noise, and your brain immediately goes to that as a shell. That is exoskeleton-y, that is something that scuttles or moves quickly. But the other thing that kind of, the pitch of it, as it kind of...
stop it.
Before it kind of fades off, you get the idea that whatever these are big enough that the sound is audible, but not big enough that it doesn't sound huge. The pitch, you're kind of like, no, that's sounds like what I've heard with other things, but not anything that's mad. I mean, you've seen some heckin' spiders on the farm from time to time. You've seen some size. Occasionally there was that one time there was that roach infestation down at the and it was just all hands on deck trying to get stuff out before they got messed up with, and there was that scuttering skittle as the bugs were moving around. Kind of like that, but amped up just a little bit. But you definitely can't see anything about what's down.
Sounds like some big old bugs.
Do you keep going? Do you throw a torch? What do you...
I think Theo would maybe like to kind of draw people's attention to it. Since he and Bob can kind of hear it, he's just going to be like, I'm serious, gang. That sounds like some big old bugs. Like bigger than house spider sized, maybe. And probably a lot of them. I can't tell quite where they are, but
not a big fan.
There's bugs over there.
Not a big fan of bugs. You don't need to. If there's bugs, I mean, I think the bugs are comfortable where they are. Maybe we either go quieter or start with fire. Who has fire? Somebody should use some fire.
Can we, is there a way to check the wall to make sure that we're not gonna accidentally set ourselves on fire again this time?
The walls are far enough away.
Yeah, from most of you.
If it makes you feel any better, I do have Earth Tremor as a spell on standby.
Yes, that made everyone feel better.
I'm gonna shake them all down. Oh.
I would be lying if I said I didn't want you to do this.
It'd be entertainment at its finest.
Oh.
What you're gonna get is me making a lot of noises like, you, Doug, stop with the sound effects. You.
I mean, I only come to D&D for the entertainment.
Oh yeah.
And after I told you my spider tactic in Skyrim, Doug.
Yeah, burninate the countryside.
Exactly.
Trogdor.
Light
You
it
go
all on
Trogdor
fire.
on
Hide
those
behind
spiders.
a corner. Light everything on fire.
All right, so are you guys going to just keep walking with caution? Are you actually going to, are you doing it? Have you decided what you're...
Well...
I have a lantern I'm going to go ahead and light so that I can at least light up the area and then have some fire on hand.
Lantern, that's a good idea.
Theo is gonna hold the shovel at the ready. He doesn't like bugs very much. He's used to them. Smash them if he has to. He doesn't feature the idea of them dropping down on him. Unprepared.
So, Theo has readied their weapon.
A weapon.
Yeah, he has.
Rinningham pulls out a lantern. Now, Rinningham, you pull out your lantern, and you're all the way in the back.
I say, here, make sure you can see what's coming first, and I pass the lantern up to the people in the front.
Okay. What type of lantern is it that you have again? Is it just like a regular...
Just a run-of-the-mill garden variety lantern.
I just want to make sure I...
From Lanterns R Us.
Know how much,
Or I guess lamp. Excuse me. It's not even a lantern. It's a lamp.
So...
Lamp, lantern, you know.
Burns for 6 hours on a flask of oil. Casts bright light in a 15-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet. So you have 45 feet of somewhat usable light.
Yes.
The brightest of which is directly around Bob. You now went from being able to have 60 feet of dark vision to, well,
hey, this looks pretty good.
Yeah. You can make out better some of the stalagmites and stalactites, and you can now, all of you can see where the shadows seem to pitch darker in certain spots above and increasingly beside, although there's no movement. And the sound
Do we still
stopped.
hear movement?
The sound stopped.
Okay.
The light, as it passed up, the sound, any of the noises just kind of silent.
So either they're scared of light, or
They're waiting to ambush us.
Oh, let's just say they're scared of light. That makes us all feel better, doesn't it?
not really. Well, I mean, kind of. I guess it could. People can produce light. We can make light. I mean, I guess we just kind of we're gonna keep walking forward. Yeah. Who's leading? Who's in the front right now?
Bob is still in the front. Theo's still there, and Sam looks wildly uncomfortable with.
I'm fine with spiders. I can do it. Let's just do
sure?
this.
You
baby.
good? You good? Okay.
I told you my only no-go is like hand trauma. I'm fine with anything else.
That's true. That was the all stop, which we're good on. So you slowly keep making your way forward. More of you can start making perception checks now, since you guys can see if there's anything you are in particularly looking out for. Where you're looking will matter. Whether you're focusing upwards or if you're focusing forward.
Yeah, I'm looking just straight down, trying to look around everyone.
Okay.
It's 14.
Okay. You kind of keep glancing around and realize that you're in the range of the dim light, and actually every couple moments as Penn moves around, you're suddenly like in the shadow again. And you look behind you just to keep an eye out in that direction, and you're not really falling to the fact that you're now creating lots of shadows on the stalagmites and stalactites, and any surface that had any polish or sheen to it from nature or whatever dug this out glimmers for a moment, but it looks like a white blink. But then the light moves in a different way, and it's gone.
Okay, so this was dug out. This is not naturally occurring. By looking at the walls, does it look like it was dug out by a largish creature where there's large chunks of material removed, or a bunch of smaller creatures where there's smaller chunks of material removed?
Give me an investigation check. I'm actually going to say with advantage.
Cool. Okay, that is a 1. So, since we have advantage,
yeah, you can try to not have a 1.
That's 20. We'll go with that one instead.
That's the second nat 20 of the night. Look at this.
Following a nat 1.
So, yeah, that's statistically very, very unlikely, but here we are. That's what advantage is for. It's for moments like this where so you kind of study the stalagmites, the stalactites. You kind of look at the shape of the floor.
Shape of the floor?
Yeah, the shape of the floor. There's
It's shaped like a friend.
What originally kind of just looked at a quick glance of just rough, rocky material, just not smoothed out or traveled on or taken over by whatever the fungus is. You begin to notice there's actually a almost uniform scrape pattern to it. It looks like something about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide, round-ish, kind of takes small scoops of this material away, this rocky material away. And you look at the stalagmites and the stalactites, and they actually seem to be hewn, not natural. The lack of dripping water now kind of makes sense. That's how stalagmites and stalactites are formed, is usually there's moisture as it builds up from one side or drips down from the other.
That is strange that is a detail that was included.
And the texture remains fairly uniform, but it is small and it is distinct, as if something has carefully burrowed at a very low level of detail, like a very low level of detail, where they just kind of carefully hewed out all of what you are seeing over an indeterminate period of time.
Interesting. Most peculiar. Okay, cool.
I was trying to picture like a good description of like the exact shape of the scrapes. So you know, like an apple corer, where it's got like it's the perfectly round, you know. So it's about that diameter, but like imagine if it was like a scooping tool that was used. So they're not even like flat. It's almost like there's scoops about, you know, such a like a like tiny radius and
somebody
stuff like that.
Somebody got handed a melon baller and said make a tunnel.
Yeah, and just kind of slowly scraped it along, kind of deal. But you also notice that there's a lacking of like piles of where this material would have gone.
Yep. It has been excavated. Interesting. Peculiar.
Rinningham, roll me a perception check.
Pretty sure that I don't have any kind of perception. That's a 16.
Okay. And Theo, give me a perception check.
Sure thing. 18.
Okay. Rinningham, as Bob continues to kind of scope out some of what's going on, he doesn't have to move far from the front of the pack to kind of get to the closest stalagmite or stalactite and just kind of peer things down, crouches down. The shadows keep moving around, and for but a moment you swear you could see what was a empty circle in the ceiling now has a little small, probably 4 to 6 inch shimmer, roundish shimmer that shows up for a fraction of a second, and then the next time the light moves, it's gone again.
How far does it look like it is?
About 15 feet. It's almost at the extent of where the light would be for you.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna tell. Hey, Bob, set that. Bob has the lamp.
Yep.
Hey, Bob, go ahead and give me that lamp back. And I'm gonna cast Mage Hand to carry the lamp further down the hall, but like faster, like aggressively fast.
Okay, so you're just gonna kind of like
Aggressively fast.
Well, yeah. So not like it's like walking slow, but like as fast as the hand can move. I guess I don't know what the move speed Mage Hand is.
Pretty sure it's on the spell. It'll tell you.
It just lasts duration.
It can move 30 feet each time you use it.
Okay, but I mean, like, we're not in.
And it has to stay within 30 feet of you.
If I move the hand with the lamp 30 feet from me, then we should be getting. Do the math. I don't know. The lamp's out there.
So yes. So we're gonna hang for a half second there as the light begins to move past the party, and this actually works really, really well. Theo, as the light moves past you and the shadows begin to shift again, you also catch a couple of shimmers, but you hear a skitter up ahead, and it's very faint. It's very just on the rocky material, and then as the light continues to move, suddenly the little tiny shimmers are gone. Renningham, the light, you just kind of bring it on down, and as you do, you see they're about 6 to 8 inches long, about 4 or 5 inches wide. They look like pillbugs, but they're just big honkin' pillbugs. However, several of them, while they're on the ground, kind of just pillbuggy form, other ones are gripping the sides of the stalagmites and stalactites, and their eyes kind of faintly, instead of reflecting like a deep black you would expect out of a regular insect, they have like a bright green shimmer as the light kind of travels over them before they scuttle off, and you can kind of catch a couple of them as they're trying to find places to go, and they just kind of up into the ceiling and off to the sides.
Okay.
And then your light is now kind of at the extent. So the bright light is now 30 feet from you, and then you're in dim light. You actually and the rest of the party are in dim light.
Oh boy,
Okay.
that's a lot of
There are
books.
only probably 14 or 15 of them. Not a whole. It's not like an army of them. It was just kind of like a... And they're all kind of in different spots just around some of the floor, some of the walls, some of the ceiling, but some of the stalactites look around.
How high is the ceiling?
At this point, it has raised slightly, so it's only about 15 feet floor to ceiling. You're not bumping your heads anymore, but the stalagmites and stalactites are kind of the things that you're trying to dodge your heads from. For you, it hasn't been a problem, but...
what I want to do is I want to keep moving forward, but I want to use the mage hand to kind of like move the lamp in a circle, because obviously they don't like light. So I'm gonna kind of use the mage hand to keep out in front of us enough, but then like move it in a circle around the cavern, the tunnel as we're moving down it, to kind of push, to continually push the bugs so they can't get behind us. But as we move forward.
Okay, that will slow down your movement. You guys have been able to move full speed. This, if you're gonna be doing that, that counts towards some of the mage hand's movement if you can move a total of 30 feet. So you're gonna cut your movement to about half.
Sure.
To kind of keep the thing going around.
We're not in. We haven't had to roll initiative. Not yet. So I'm just gonna. I just kind of. It's slow moving, but the bugs, they're not getting behind us, and we're able to kind of keep an eye on them. And as we're moving down, I'm also trying to like make sure that they aren't like rotating around stalagmites as we approach. Make sure the way that they scuttle, if I can, as best I can. Make sure
as
that
best
they
you
don't.
can. Give me a perception check.
Ooh, just a flat 10.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else, as you guys are traveling, you guys before you guys start moving again with Riddingham's idea, as he just kind of starts rotating the lamp down the hallway, do you guys think of anything else? Do you guys want to do anything else?
I suggest maybe we be very careful of the things that are on the floor. Let's try not to disturb them if we can avoid it.
So don't step on stuff?
So
Don't
not
step on
petting
stuff.
them?
Yeah, I don't know if petting them sounds like it could be really sweet. It could be snuggly.
I mean, if they're giant potato bugs.
They look like pillbugs. I'll remind you of the DM's wording. They look like pillbugs.
They look
That
like
doesn't
giant
Doesn't mean that
pillbugs.
they are.
From what you can tell, they're also probably 2.5, 3 inches thick. So like these fat, or I say
About
fat,
3.
they're just.
You say like 2.5 inches, so like this long, right?
Well, so nice.
Gosh darn it.
As you continue up the hallway, the skittering noise is a little bit more obvious. And Rinningham, you do notice a couple of them that try to do that, but as the light moves in their direction, they just kind of start scurrying off and heading away from the source of light. But as you continue upwards, you begin to also smell something. It smells just kind of like refuse. It's just kind of smells like trash. It's not like the sewage that you spent as much time as you were in before. There is a bit of a rot smell to it, but not sweet earthy version like you when you were down by the mushrooms. This is definitely the more pungent kind. As this area opens up into a slightly wider room, not as wide as the area with the mushrooms, but in the middle of this space, about 8-ish feet wide and mounded about 6 feet tall, just kind of in the room, is a structure made of a different material. You can definitely tell it's not the same stone and everything. It kind of almost looks like it's either been carved out or is sticking up through the ground, and it's got these holes. And the air starts to get slightly more humid. And it smells like whatever odor is coming from this thing in the ground.
Can I take let's see, I probably have, I mean, I don't keep track of rations, but whatever food I have in my pack, I'm just going to kind of take a handful, or like a pinch, a handful, a morsel, and just kind of throw it toward that structure, the little thing that has a bunch of holes coming out of it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hit it, I'm just trying to land close.
All right.
And my lantern my lamp isn't fully illuminating it, right?
Well, it is, because it's been ahead of you as you've been moving.
Okay.
So
I want to move it back so that we are in the bright light, but the structure is in the dim, kind of at the fringe.
So as you move the lantern back closer to you guys, and the dim light begins to kind of obfuscate this strange structure sticking out of the material, sticking out of the ground. Like the floor and the walls have been like a brownish gray, just rough-hewn rock. This has a distinctly reddish tint to this protrusion out of the ground, and once it's back into mostly dark, it has a darker brown. That kind of, you can tell something is there, and then you see little shimmering movements. You can hear the very faint scuttling again, and then nothing, and then a couple more seconds later, you hear a couple more moments of scuttling, and then quiet again. And then towards the ground, you see 2 or 3 of these things kind of pull themselves out of the holes. And the holes are just large enough for maybe 2 or 3 of them to just kind of peek out. They're just big enough. And some of them climb up over the surface. 2 of them kind of go around to where the food is, and they just kind of like nudge it with their heads before you see appendages kind of like grab it and kind of tuck it into their body or towards their body, and then they scurry back into the...
Well, they don't like light, that's for sure. Let's just keep moving. I see no reason to... They haven't attacked us. They're not moving on us. Let's just keep going.
Leave them to their own devices, their own little meat-eating, opportunistic devices. Although they are kind of cute.
They're Horta. Okay, that was my Star Trek reference. Nobody caught it. Never mind.
I'm sorry. I did not watch enough Star Trek, unfortunately, to catch your reference.
That's okay.
As you continue towards this room, this chamber, the distinctly putrid, rotty smell becomes a little bit more prominent, but it's otherwise okay. It's not overwhelming. It's not enough to make you sick. It's just as if someone had left a couple of bags of trash in the hallway for a while. Every so often, it feels like the air circulates just a little bit, and the smell gets worse for just a moment. The air is slightly more humid in here. And then on the other side of this mound is just another tunnel, just kind of a continuation. Jim, Bob, what stands out to you is that the scrapings around here are not as clean. They're not as uniform as they were in the hallway leading up. And then the hallway that continues onwards, it returns to the more uniform shape again.
They were in a hurry. Interesting.
Am I noticing any bugs trailing behind us, like kind of following us after we've passed that structure?
Give me a perception check as you continue moving the torch further down, or your lantern further down.
That's a 3.
No. If anything, as you guys walk through this space and you can smell the smell and feel the air slightly circulate, and it's one of the more humid places you've been since the room where the steam was intentionally being generated. Nothing else really stands out, and you just kind of keep on moving, and Brunningham, you're looking back, but the torch with it moving ahead in its continuing spiral like you had instructed it.
Yeah, I don't notice the bugs following, and there's no more like in front of us that I can notice. Oh, so it's just in front of us carrying the lamp.
Yep.
It's not doing the whirling dervish of death.
Well, you were watching backwards, so I assumed you kept the lamp doing its thing until I guess you turn and look forwards and see doesn't seem to be doing much.
Yeah, see, there's nothing in front it's doing it for. There's nothing following behind us, so now it's just a lamp. God bless America, it's a lamp.
It's I hate to say same difference, but unless you buy or have the type of lamp that like you can focus it, we can just call it a lamp or a lantern. Doesn't really. You get the idea.
The light.
The light source, yes. The one thing that you notice as you continue down this section of the hallway is that the smell doesn't seem to really go away, and we are going to take a break here as you guys continue down the hallway.
We've walked down a hall. All right.
I know. You guys do a lot of walking right now. It's a lot of exploration. Don't
know where we are. They were following some bugs.
Crushing that hallway, though. Honestly, crushing that hallway.
Oh, yeah.
As far as hallways
Proceeding
go...
forward. We're making progress. Maybe.
Yeah, if
Whether
it's the right hallway.
good progress or bad is the other question.
Is there any such thing as bad progress?
Yes, we could be going the exact opposite direction of Core.
In fact,
bad progress.
In fact, most of what we do is bad progress.
That's true.
Okay. I will concede the argument.
You consider war crimes. I mean, you're progressing, but like that's not great.
Yeah, from blowing up entire alleyways to walking down hallways, we're doing better.
Well, yeah.
We're doing better. Good job, us.
These are the types of upgrades that we're looking for in life.
You progress more progressively.
All right, we're going to take a quick 15-minute break, and then we will continue on with things that are happening here. Grab a snack or something, kick back, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Yay!
Yay!
Huzzah! And we're back. So you made it past the reddish protrusion from the ground, continue down the hallway, and the smell kind of continued to carry. As you continue to turn around and bend,
your shoes.
You continue to see that the walls are still hewn in a similar fashion. The stalagmites and stalactites all seem to be hewn in a similar fashion. There's still pits in the ceiling, not unlike the ones you saw before. However, there's more that are now on the sides of the walls. Some are about 2 feet in diameter, some are about 3 feet in diameter. But you find a section that widens out, similar to the way this one that you were just in had, except in the middle, instead of there being a reddish protrusion out of the ground going about 6 feet up, it has a hole in the center, about the same diameter as the red protrusion from before. And as you walk towards it, you can still smell, it's not as breathy as would happen down at the other one, but you can still smell a distinct parfum de garbage coming up out of the middle of this hole. But looking down, you don't see anything distinct. Brinningham, your torch kind of continues around the room. This section appears to be a little bit more refined than the previous one. The floor stays nice and uniformly carved and shaped, and the walls are more uniformly hewn, except the exit isn't directly across like the previous one. There seems to be a path that kind of goes off to the side, just in an almost meandery kind of way, just kind of loop around, head on through.
I want to take my lamp hand and kind of go down the way off to the side. I'm still not messing with this protrusion in the center of the room.
Well, there's no protrusion in the middle of this room. There's a pit, there's a hole in the ground where the protrusion was.
Oh, I thought it was another thing, but with one hole.
This room is shaped exactly like the previous ones, except instead of there being the protrusion, there's a pit, there's a hole there.
It's almost like they're a mirror of each other.
Does it smell like there's more smell in the hole versus outside of the hole?
Do you put your head in the hole to smell it?
I mean, no, but like I get closer to the hole. Like, is the hole the source of the smell?
It's hard to rule out because since you've been at the previous one, the smell has stayed pretty uniform. So if it is the source of the smell, it's not generating a ton of it. It's just enough that it kind of stays stagnant.
I'm gonna get close to the hole.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast Prestidigitation to create kind of a puff of wind, and I want to source it from deeper in the hole to get more of the smell or whatever is down there to see if that's the source of the smell.
You're examining the bouquet.
I really want to let it aerate, you know. I want to
like a fine wine.
I want to taste the notes, you know.
Okay. You kind of extend as far as you can kind of see using the light of the lantern to kind of guide it, and you get a slight waft of air from below. And roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh. Constitution saving throw. Now.
Constitution saving throw.
It's interesting that you want me to do a Constitution saving throw.
What's so interesting about it there?
If I was prepared in any sense of the word. Oh, damn it. Okay, never mind. Alright, here we go. Constitution saving throw, which Man, come on! What? I feel like I have advantage somewhere in my abilities. No, I don't.
You could have given yourself some like bardic inspiration or something as
It's too late now.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
could have.
delaying the inevitable at this point, and that is a solid 5 for a Constitution.
Better than nothing.
So this waft of air from below.
Waft or waft?
Felt the same. So I'm just gonna say yes. It is the yes. The yes comes up out of the. Now none of you are sticking your heads like directly over this, but the smell definitely increases in the space for a moment.
Ooh, thanks.
I'm trying to think if Renningham has an experience that he could relate to for what he's about to experience here. I don't think he does. You get a smell that is some unholy combination of burnt hair, burnt almonds, sour, sickly sweet sour honey, all kind of conglomerated together. Sam, do you need to not listen for a second?
It's fine. I'm just like contemplating it in my head. I feel like I can kind of like taste it almost.
I'm detecting the nose.
It is a it's a humid waft as it kind of comes up, and you can kind of feel your face dampen slightly as it just kind of comes on up there. And it can't really help but add to the moment by retching down into the pit with your whopping 5 Constitution saving throw. And
I go. Oh God! It's coming from the hole.
A mean party member would go kick him in.
Why would you say
I just said he would be a mean
something you don't bring up.
I'm not
that's
mean.
Something you keep inside. You don't bring that up to the group.
Okay.
Pen, what are you thinking?
With my limited telepathy, I detect something coming from Bob. I'm very suspicious. There's something like a spidey sense, you know, in No Way Home.
A little tingling.
Peter Parker detects that shift in the Green Goblin.
Stuart, not Renningham, Stuart. Roll me an insight check.
Okay, here we go. I feel like I don't have advantage. That's a 17. I know.
You know that if you could have, you would have.
I get a +1.
If it were, you know, if it were Jim.
Or anyone else?
If it were Jim, there may have been a little bit of a nudge. Maybe not a shove, but a nudge, just to see if you were off balance.
Yeah.
And
throwing everything up. Interesting.
One thing of this experience is that you know that you cannot see the bottom, and it took a couple of seconds for you to hear the faint noise of the
splatter of what I threw up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, there was an actual splash?
Eventually,
it's too far down.
It just took a couple
too far
seconds.
Down and it's still
not a full round.
I blow my I do the farmers, I blow my nose out into the hole.
Clear out the
into the hole. I'm sorry, not farm. I mean, it's not insulting. It's just that they are very efficient. Yeah. So that's where the smell's coming from. We should go the other way.
Oh, I hope this isn't our full of a toque moment.
Instead of a bucket, it's just a mouth of vomit. Drums in the deep.
I mean, if there's one way to make something waiting at the bottom
Next
of a
time,
hallway,
throw yourself in as
that's it.
well. Save us the trouble. All right. So, Renningham, you wipe your face and stand back up. You guys didn't really do much for breakfast this morning anyway, so it just kind of...
That's true.
You all right there,
Penn
buddy?
did. Penn's been munching, so,
It just smelled so bad.
Penn's
I mean,
on
yeah, it
shrooms.
smells worse than manure that's been left in the sun for a while.
Yes. There was a sweetness to it and a nuttiness. Did you detect the nuttiness?
I didn't get as good a whiff as you. But,
Do you want one?
Oh no, thank you. I think I'm okay.
Ugh, let's keep going. I don't want to. I can't be around it much longer.
All right,
right.
let's keep moving.
Mage Hand continues to... You're lucky Mage Hand is a cantrip. You're just able to just keep recasting it, just keep the lantern going.
It's a cantrip, and there's no... I was looking at it because there's no concentration component to it.
Nope.
It can just happen, and I can still cast other things and be fine with it.
Yeah, it also... I don't think it's a bonus action to even tell it to move. It's one of the most useful spells. You use your action to control the hand. Okay. Yeah.
But I can still do prestidigitation, I can still do guidance.
As long as you don't move it, in that same turn, because those are spells.
Well,
that's
but
an
I mean,
action.
if we're in
these semantics
rotation.
are important.
They are. I'm saying, but we're not in rotation, so there's no reason you can just do things.
So,
if we were in combat, or if we were in initiative, then I would need to be concerned about doing other things. But
all I have to say is I'm glad you're taking initiative in researching the pits.
I don't like that.
Okay. It was more about the joke on initiative, but anyway.
Yeah.
I wasn't meaning to imply anything, or was I?
I didn't look. I totally could have just dropped the lamp down the pit. I have a lot of things I could throw down. I could have investigated the area to see if there were rocks. You know how I love rocks. I still have the rock that.
Cool, in Reningham's
Ruby-
arsenal.
We can still let you investigate it. We can help.
Yeah, we haven't left yet.
I'm
We're
done.
still in the room.
I investigated enough of it by throwing up into it. I'm fine.
That's enough of a rock.
I didn't. The distant splatter. After the splatter, the reverberation of the noise as it echoed up the chamber. Did I hear any other sounds coming from the bottom of this pit?
The splash sounded like something wet hitting something possibly also wet.
Gross. Still going. Still moving. I don't like it. Wet pits.
Gross.
There's only a few wet pits I like, and
Chlor.
Those.
I need you to roll me some percentile dice, please.
You see where I was going, Sam? It's half as well as they deserve.
I wish I didn't.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going. That's why I said, Chlor, roll me some percentile. Okay. Thank you. I will keep that in mind.
Yikes.
Could be worse.
It's fine.
Would it have been worse? I don't know.
I mean,
That ones are worse.
There's 17 numbers less than that.
Yeah.
So,
It depends on how big the ranges we're working in are.
I mean, it's a percentile die. It's 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a 17% chance that you rolled worse.
Just hang on to that.
I'll hold on to that. You hold on to your actual roll. So yeah, we're going on the side. I'm moving towards the side. This side.
All right. Does anyone else do any sort of investigation, or do you guys just watch Renningham just be like, gust of wind, wretch?
And then just walk the other way.
Just making mental notes. Things not to do in the future.
I said some things about how bad it was and how I didn't want to be there. And there was nothing else in this cavern.
Buddy, I know we gotta conserve water here, but you might want to use some of it to wash out your mouth. That can't be too pleasant.
I appreciate that. I'd take a swig and drop and spit it out.
Where do you spit it? Do you spit it in the pit again?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
It's a garbage at this point. It's a disposal.
You hear another, slightly louder this time because you actually had to intentionally just kind of it's a little wetter because there's viscosity differences there, and it's just kind of again sounds like a wet on wet kind of as it kind of slowly the sound makes its way up.
I mean,
the thing is that a freshly wet mouth, like as you breathe and everything, you kind of just like
you can taste it a little bit more. Yeah, that's why I'm moving away. Like I spit. Yeah. I didn't linger. I just went and then I turned away and I kept going.
So all right, so this hallway as it continues, it's smoother than the previous ones. The ridges that are left from this apparent scraping that was used to create this tunnel, they've smoothed over. So there's ripples more than there are like ridges. The stalagmites and stalactites are more like mounds that have been rounded, and there are more pits in the walls and in the ceiling as you continue down, and the walkable space is slightly narrower as there also appears to be sections where the dirt material has come out of the ground for another pit or hole on the side. But as you continue, there's a distinct lack of the skittering noises that you had heard before.
Can we hypothesize that these pillbugs have a sense of smell?
They seem to be afraid of the light, though, because with the lamp, the closer it got, the further they moved away. Clearly, they don't have a very developed sense of smell because, yuck!
I mean, they were all in that other mount thing, which didn't smell as bad as the pit, but still smelled pretty bad.
It didn't smell great. You'd think if something could smell, they'd want to smell good smells, not bad smells. Although maybe bad smells smell good to the smellers that can smell bad smells, and they like good smells. Either way, I don't want to be here near the bad smells, because I can smell good smells.
True.
All I can say is that trying to make sense of that dialogue really stinks.
There's a certain smelly smell that smells smelly.
All right, so
I know it's a bad joke when I hear one.
I can smell it on you.
This is going to be a good bridge into the next moment.
What, we're crossing a bridge now?
As you move through this next section of tunnel, the smell doesn't continue. It doesn't get worse. It doesn't get better. It kind of continues, and as you go further and further in, the soft ripples in the ground, you begin to see that some of them have little trails of moisture on the inside, kind of going sideways, like ribbed, like as if these were carved in a direction where there's kind of like ribbed ridges in the floor. Now again, they kind of have to meander a little bit for where these other little pits and stuff have popped out, but there doesn't seem to be the same airflows and things that seem to happen when you're near those circular big ones that are in the ground.
Is it? I noticed you say there's like a trail of moisture.
Yep, kind of going like left to right across the room, and then a couple more steps up. There's another one. Is
there enough moisture to kind of like swipe your finger through and feel it?
Okay. Yeah. If you go, you can kind of.
Yeah.
The dirt of the floor sticks to your fingers.
Sure.
There's a slickness to it, but it's very faint. It doesn't burn your fingers or anything like that.
Yeah, no. Is there any kind of smell?
It smells similar to it's a lighter version of what you just had, but it's stronger than the rest of the air around you. So not enough that you need to, but it's definitely reminiscent of your own.
I want to use Mage Hand to bring the lamp a little bit close, and I just want to kind of go over the flame.
The more you keep playing with it, the dirt starts to kind of roll up in your fingers and stuff like that, and then it's just kind of like you make little dry, wet balls of dirt.
Is it flammable?
Yes.
So you're just gonna
just get close to. I mean, I have a lamp, which is an open flame. I'm just gonna get a little bit
toss
close
it in.
I mean, it's on my fingers. I just kind of, like when you have Germex on your hands, and you touch the flame.
It just kind of. Whoosh.
Oh, cool! So I'm gonna take the lamp and I'm gonna take the open flame. And I'm gonna touch it to one of the trails.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And see where it goes. See where it goes. Where does it go?
You already said. You already
just
committed.
one of them.
He
So
committed.
he just takes his torch and he just like, oh sweet, tilts it in the way, just put it basically face down into one of these, and you watch as it starts small and just kind of like trickles out the sides of where the lamp was before it goes up the side of the walls and into one of the tunnels that's on the side. And the other side continues and does the same thing, but it also kind of finds a trail up some of the ridges you hadn't really seen and paid attention to, and then you find another one that goes up towards another pit and hole, and the smell begins to become more prominent again.
Oh no, ew. I didn't want that.
And then you hear the scuttering.
And somewhere, somebody or something is now officially mad at us.
I hate that.
Him.
I don't like the skitter.
What the heck did you do?
I didn't know. I thought it was flame. I thought it would illuminate our paths. It would be able to see. I mean,
It's illuminated, all right.
There's a lattice work of this smudge
That part
on the
lets
ground.
move cautiously and.
I mean, it's cautious as could be. How much
Not
did you
think
take?
about.
There's just trails of flammable liquid. We can find its source now. We can follow the light.
Every few seconds, it catches up to another spot and just kind of like trails off into one of these. Some of them you can see actually go towards the ceiling where this material is slick enough where it's not dripping, but it's sticking and just kind of burning up the side of the wall. And there's like now a glowing circle in the ceiling.
Yeah, like how much light?
I'm going to propose maybe we should just turn around and walk the other direction.
Well, it's back towards the pit.
Yeah, which is not on fire, so that's a good thing.
But it's not more fire as we go down. I mean,
it's the trails. That's what I'm saying. Is that the trails of where it is wet continue to burn and continue to catch and are continuing ahead of where you're going. That's everyone else seemed to get it. The tunnel is starting to catch on fire along these trails that you just lit.
And it's using up oxygen and it's burning into someone's home.
And it's drawing the attention of the animals that are now angry that their homes are on fire.
That's tough.
And
we should go the other way then.
Chlor, I need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no!
I am very confused, but here it goes.
Your 18 was not in your favor, by the way.
Natural 20. Natural
Sweet.
20 for a 22.
Chlor, you've been trying to meander through these pathways and trying to make your way back towards any place that made sense.
And now I'm on fire, is what you're saying.
Well, you happen to notice it starts with a
he sees a light
sound.
in the distance.
It's a faint
that he can
popping
notice
sound, and for real life, it sounds almost like a stuttering engine where it's just kind of like pop, 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 as it's trying to like start and ignite before you kind of start to see faintly these sections of the ground that you've been slowly avoiding because there's been these pits you've been just kind of making your way through. Nothing has happened. You've heard nothing. You've seen nothing. But all of a sudden, your left to your right, they faintly start to glow, and the glow begins to resonate with the popping noise before one of them, not 3-4 feet in front of you, just kind of like guts out a wet splat that is on fire and sticks to the ceiling and begins to slowly drip down the wall.
But don't worry, there are no RUSs.
I don't think they exist.
They're coming from. It's coming from the floor, from where I'm standing.
It was kind of like a pit off to the side. You've been kind of meandering a hallway similar to theirs, except instead of being wary based off of seeing scuttering pillbug-like creatures, you've experienced no life. You've been walking these tunnels for who knows how long at this point.
And I haven't had the sudden urge to light things on fire. Interesting. Okay.
Not everybody has the same impulses. I mean, some people are just natural explorers. They're curious about the world around them.
So if that's happening, which is the same thing happening where it's kind of going down the tunnel in front of me? Like, am I seeing this happening in front of me? Or behind me?
So
is it like?
It's continuing further behind you as well, but it is starting to show up in some of these other spots, and it's popping and making like sputtering noises as you see the glow kind of, and then more wet burning gunk just kind of pops out of the ground and either splats against the wall or splats next to the pit. The whole.
I'm natural instinct would be whatever direction the flames are going, I'm going the other direction because I'm thinking it's like coming after me. So like, is it progressing down the hallway? Like you were just describing it with them, like, is it lighting the...
So short answer is yes, but it's kind of sort of trying to describe this without giving all of you too much information. I'm realizing that there's no way to avoid this. So for you, Chlor, it's starting slightly behind you and beside you.
Yeah.
And you can see it starting to progress forward in front of you. But it's not starting on the ground. It's starting from these holes and spewing out into the ground. And spewing out onto the walls. For the party, they started it on the floor, and it went towards these things, into the holes in the wall. And it continued to spread and go into the holes in the wall. And some of them are starting to glow and starting to do things. So if hypothetically the party and Chlor were on opposite sides of a long tunnel, completely changes the encounter I had in mind. You've basically created a situation where one side has the ground on fire and is starting to ignite all the things. your side core has all the sputtering and fireballs being shot down at you.
Right.
And is slowly going to start moving in the direction that's towards the party that is also slowly moving fire towards core.
Shot down on you implies some kind of intentionality, like someone wanted this to happen. I don't think anybody wanted this to happen.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm seeing fire in this area and it's moving in this area, I'm gonna go that way and try and beat the fire down the hallway.
Yep. Base. Okay, that's what I was expecting, but
almost as if something is chasing me that is
on
potentially
fire.
gonna burn me and kill me. Right.
Yep.
The natural survival inclination of I begin not wandering through the hallways and now running through the hallway that I'm in.
Yeah, as the sections next to you begin to start glowing even more and just sputtering, I need you to roll me another dexterity saving throw.
Not a natural 20, but a 12.
Okay. So as you are running through this tunnel, the one thing that you are grateful for as these balls of gunk just kind of splat around is that there's a faint glow right before they pop, and you can hear them as they're getting ready. But as you are sprinting, full round movement.
Yes. For sure.
There are more and more of them continuing, and you can feel the heat emanating from behind you. And you take a glance, and you can see that some of them are now no longer just spitting. They're kind of just like there is flames just kind of like sputtering in and out of several of them. And so the hallway that was pitch dark before now has a pretty steady glow.
You're welcome. There's
As
no
you are
everyone can
running
see
full
now.
tilt down this hallway that is suddenly on fire for you.
On fire. Illuminated.
Violently illuminated.
It's all in the marketing.
Yeah, so I've abandoned all perception and stealth and any sort of careful movement, and I am just full movement action and movement going.
It doesn't take long for you as you sprint to start feeling things nudging against your feet. And you look down and you can see that there are things trying to give you some berth as you run. And you are staying only slightly ahead of them. But there starts off as a few, then it turns into a couple more, and then it turns into a dozen, and you stop bothering to even try counting as you glance around and see these small carapaced creatures. They look kind of like pillbugs. And with the glowing lights, you can see some of them like shimmer in different colors. And it's like, if you were being chased by giant fireballs coming out of the ceiling, it might be cool to actually look at one of these as they are trying to slowly and are slowly creeping ahead of you, but they are trying to give you some berth. Just occasionally you feel them nudge against your feet.
I feel like I'm doing like the Captain Jack Sparrow, like crazy run down the beach, like away.
Basically, but instead of it being the natives that are chasing after him, it's like those little rock crabs that help him move the boat, kind of thing.
Oh, yes.
As they just scuttling around, and some of them are kind of pulling over each other as they are fleeing, and you see some of them as they are popping out of the mounds are just getting like blasted, and they're on fire and just kind of stick and slide, and it's just this hallway is beginning to just kind of pop and glow more and more. I need anyone in the party who's down watching the slow flames just kind of like go into these tunnels. Just roll me a perception check.
All right.
There's no reason to really
DM, that is a 23.
I'm useless today.
That's a 7?
Theo, you've begun to notice something a little particular. The rest of the party, as you guys are kind of watching this, you continue to see the trails of fire move up the hallway and then branch in to some of these holes. Theo, you're the one who's beginning to notice that some of the holes are glowing, and the trails of fire are starting to actually come out into the hallway from the holes, not the hallway into the holes. It's starting to all kind of start happening simultaneously, and it's happening further and further out. But looking down the tunnel, you see an orange spot like dead center way down that was definitely not there before. So you know there's fire and stuff happening all around you, but there's none of the spattering happening yet, to your knowledge. But way down the ways, you can see another orange dot that was definitely not there prior.
Guys, there's something new here. There's things that are, moving all around, but there's a big old orange something or other right there at the bottom of the hallway. Maybe we should move?
The ground beneath Rinningham begins to feel slightly warm. And as he looks around, he can start to see through some cracks in the floor, there begins to be light amounts of a steam. Turning around, you can see some of the other holes in the walls and ceiling and floor are slowly beginning to glow faintly.
Guys, I think we may have caused a problem.
We should move. We should get back
And
to
by
the other room.
we, I mean Rennie.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't do well to point fingers, all right? Nobody?
It's never too soon to point fingers.
It doesn't do well to just sit here talking. We gotta move.
Yeah, I agree. And I start running.
Theo follows after her.
All right, so everyone's now running as these hallways that you've been traveling through begin to
suspiciously catch fire.
Take a moment for an aside.
A sidebar?
Did I plan for that material to be flammable? Yes, I did. I did in fact plan for it to be flammable.
Fun.
Did it have purpose in the lore and in the world and stuff like that? Actually, yes, it does. It does. It's
nice.
I
feel like you're mad. Listen, I feel like you're mad.
Did I expect? And like,
I didn't mean.
See,
look, listen.
See,
I didn't,
well,
look. Hold on.
You expect for us to intentionally catch it all on fire?
Did I expect you to take a lantern and say, "Oh, this is flame and that's flammable. Let's see what happens when they meet"? No, I did not. So what was going to be a very different experience for the next, 45 minutes or so.
Probably could like picked it up and like held it and like made like bombs, maybe like impromptu bombs of flammable material. Or like oil, like it had a lot of fuel for stuff later. Yeah. Impulse control's not a strong suit. It's late.
Let's just say this is a very good learning experience as you guys are now all sprinting. All the while, Chlor, as you are running, you see way off in the distance another section of tunnel that already appears, and it's way off. It's easily 120-ish so feet away. That appears to also have a faint orange glow to it, not unlike the one that you are currently trying to violently outpace.
Okay. Am I outpacing it though? Is the question.
I need you to roll me an an athletics check. Sorry, an athletics check.
You sure you don't want acrobatics?
I am very sure I do not want acrobatics. I am 100%.
You want my -1 athletics instead of my +2
unfortunately, you are.
So that is
okay.
That is an 11 -1.
Okay, so that is a 10.
It's an 11 -1, Doug.
Yeah, not a 10. It's
Sorry, I knew what I was trying to say. Look, I'm
it's a
trying
natural
to.
11.
It's a natural 11 -1.
I'm trying to put together in my head the mechanisms of what the fuck to give you guys as you are running through this as I go. Because no, this was like many things you guys have done to me in this campaign in the literally 16 sessions we've had. There are things you guys do that really are outside of the realm of what I expect. I'm not saying that I'm upset because I genuinely am not. In fact, this is very entertaining. It's more just like well, shit, now I have to come up with something for that because I planned for a bunch of other things. I really did.
Yes, and Doug, yes, and.
But this is one of those like, okay, so, Chlor, you are not really used to this level of running. This is a little different than just, your long walks and travels. You take, you have to run and move quickly here and there in a combat situation. The air is getting hotter. It is getting more humid.
Oxygen is getting
beginning to get pungent. The oxygen is getting slightly thinner, and you are beginning to feel it take its toll. You haven't taken any points of exhaustion or any points of damage. However, you know you need to keep moving and keep moving hard.
Okay. And you said I can see the glow.
Another faint glow, good 120 or so feet out. However, you are doing a full, if you're doing a full move action, which you're sprinting, so yeah, that is 60 feet per round. So you're going to be able to start getting much closer. The problem is that it's definitely reddish, fiery glowiness.
I want to see how far I can see 120 feet. There's a reddish glow in front of me. Can I see the end of that reddish glow? Like, is there another side to it, or is that also deep?
Right now, based off of what you're dealing with, the light that's coming from behind you, the extent of your visual abilities, no. Unfortunately, you're too busy running to try to discern what's taking place up there, other than oh shit.
So then that's when I start yelling.
Okay.
Out of fright. And that is when I start. And I just keep going because I got nothing else to do.
All right, so we'll circle back to Chlor. The rest of the party, you guys have begun your sprint down this hallway as the glow begins to kind of form out of these holes, some in the ceiling, some on the floor, and you can hear a gurgling out of each of these. It's not the same sputteriness as what was taking place for Chlor. No, these have a more guttural noise as they jet out a plume of gunk behind you. And it's not always on fire. Sometimes it comes out just wet, and then a couple seconds later it ignites as it touches something else, or something else touches it that is flaming. Are you guys just literally turning around and just sprinting back down? So Renningham's in the back and everyone else is kind of just forward? Okay. I need everyone except Chlor to roll me an intelligence check. Just flat intelligence check.
I'm dumb today. Those mushrooms are taking their toll.
Wait a minute. There we go.
The big German no coming.
That's a 14.
Coming in with 8.
Bob with a nat 20. I think is that everybody? Almost everybody tonight has had a nat 20 because Chlor had one, Theo's had one, Bob's had one.
Some people, some people.
We're definitely over 3.
We'll just get lucky, I guess.
Yeah, that's these are good. These are good numbers. You guys are doing not so bad. The fact that it's been evenly distributed-ish, almost. We're getting there. Okay, so as you guys are running, Bob, you come to the sudden realization that up ahead is a room that had a giant pit in it with a wet-sounding bottom.
Oh no!
I'll bet that could become a fountain of fire, couldn't it?
Your sense of urgency, out of everyone else's, there's still a sense of urgency, obviously. You're being chased by fire. Yours, however, has a particularly distinct extra flavor of, oh shit.
Yep. Things are about to get really bad.
All right, I'm gonna now have to start doing some opposed rolls to see how well statistics like you guys.
Statistics don't like us.
All right.
Well, statistically they do, though, right?
Renningham. I need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy, that sounds not great. 16.
Okay. So you are the one who's closest to the bulk of the fire. The rest of the party was not as close to it. They were behind you when you ignited everything. So now they're in front of you.
Everything was ignited. When everything was ignited. Who ignited it? No one.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you have taken the lantern back with this. By the way, you just kind of set it down to the light stuff and pulled it back as soon as it was ignited because we weren't really clear on some of that. But as you are running, you can continue to feel parts of the ground get warm, and you're noticing a pattern between the ground beneath your feet and then the sputtering, gurgling noises near some of these holes. And you manage to just kind of barely duck out of the way as one just kind of splats, basically just kind of arches right over you. And the tail end is on fire. So it's a wet gunk first. The tail end is kind of catching up to it as it blooms against the wall and just ignites the wall beside you. All right, Chlor, I need you to roll me another athletics check, unfortunately.
I refuse, actually. Oh, this will be good. Natural 5 -1. Oh, is that funny?
Okay. So
sorry.
Me too.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. 12, 13.
As you are running, and the smell and the odor of the dank, gross, hot, wet, fiery, whatever this is around you is beginning to kind of sort of infiltrate and permeate your lungs as you're breathing heavier and heavier, trying to stay going forward. However, it is not enough yet to start slowing you down. It is not enough yet to start exhausting you, and you choose despite the terribly uncomfortable sensation that is beginning to fill your lungs, you are still going to keep powering through, despite the ache beginning to spread from your lungs to your muscles and joints. It has yet to hinder you as you run.
Yay!
Bob, I need a dexterity saving throw.
15.
What is your dex save modifier?
2.
You also narrowly managed to miss getting splatted on. You happen to notice a faint glow over the ones ahead of you, and you're able to just kind of barely skirt by it as it splashes on the ground, and you can feel the heat of this material just kind of like barely landing behind your heels, and you're just kind of like, oh, hey, that's no good.
No bueno.
However, it is a spot now that Hen and Theo have to carefully avoid, and I need acrobatics checks from both of them.
Hen and Theo.
Yep, Hen and Theo.
Time to do your Cirque du Soleil impersonation.
Which is a 3.
There it is. Okay. It's a big 8.
It's an infinity sign turned upside down.
You guys are way more focused on the sprint than you are on the sudden drop of this plume of flaming gunk that just lands and starts to spread across in front of you, and you can see trails of it starting to kind of ignite more sections. Theo, you only kind of like land a foot in it accidentally as you go, and are going to take, look at that, only 1 point of fire damage as you kind of land just on the edge of it, and it only kind of like burns the edge of your sole of your foot.
Edge of your sole.
Sorry, your heel. Sorry, the heel of your foot as you kind of like get through it. Hen, however, 3 points of fire damage, although I think you have resistance to fire, so that's now 1 point of fire damage. As you basically take 2 steps through the fire, a little hot in your heels, but, you know, not as uncomfortable as it could have been as you go through. Rinningham, you are...
Wait, do I take 2 or 1?
You take 1. So it's cut in half and then rounds down. So 3, 1.5 to 1. Rinningham, you kind of watch as both of them skirt over this, and you just kind of like jump right over. You're fine. You weren't as close to the splash as it hit. You had just enough time to kind of judge your movement. Lore, I need a dexterity saving throw.
We can do it. Ooh, 21.
Yay!
So you're starting to pick up on some of the patterns on the edge of your vision as more of these insects kind of pile out of some of these pits right before they pop, and so you're kind of starting to skeeter away from them just as they're going off, and you even begin to notice that some of the bugs that are still trying to like get around you and stuff like that, they're almost now picking up on the cues, and as you move, they're kind of scurrying behind you and keeping trail as more splashes and stuff kind of like catch some of them on the side. You see them just kind of like curl up and burn.
I'm Ant-Man. I'm controlling the bugs.
I was just hearing when you move, they move. I mean, just like that.
Behind you, however, you're beginning to hear a whistling hiss type noise.
Oh.
And as you look behind, some of them are slowly, the fire is slowly like controlling more and more of the hallway, and not all of the bugs are able to keep up. And you kind of hear them as they're catching.
Oh, the carnage.
Sorry,
little buddies.
And they're all sentient, just to make it that much more fun.
Anthony, no.
Bob, can you roll me some percentile dice?
Sure, I can do that.
Because you just gave me a horrible idea.
No, don't do this to me. Don't do this to us.
17.
Okay, so the main chunk of the party. You guys, as you are running, see up ahead the archway that kind of was the entrance to the larger room. Bob being the furthest up ahead. Can you give me a perception check?
Sure. What do we see? Let's find out. That is a 9. I don't see anything.
Do you see the map? Say map.
It's right there. It's right there. So you are, as you are running, you are not really able to readily track whether or not the glow on the walls as you're approaching this archway is the fire behind you generating a glow, or is the room in front of you glowing of its own accord. But you are now only about 30 feet, and the rest of your party on your coattails. You guys are only about 30 feet from that room with the pit that Rinningham puked down.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna blow the top off this mountain. Yeah, it's not a mountain, but you know.
Floor, I need you to make another Actually, in this case, it's going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one, which is the more correct. We're going to make it a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
As you are now approaching the section of ground that's already on fire. And these plumes are no longer spitting as violently, but you can see up ahead where there are sections that are now spitting up ahead. So the tunnel in front of you now is actually on fire. Before you had a section where you were kind of sort of running in the safe zone. Now you can see a lot more of the floor is burning.
And how far ahead of me is on fire as well now? Can I see the end of that? Do I have any visual on any of my compatriots here?
So the way that the fire has been moving and the way that your party members have been moving and actually managing to succeed on the rolls, they are ahead of wherever the light sources are. So unfortunately, they are effectively obfuscated by the sheer amount of light and fire that is being pushed into this tunnel. It's only about 15 feet wide, so there's not a whole lot of room for you to even see them because of the amount of everything going on.
Do I see the end of the light in front of me? Like, do I see...
You can see a dark circle, hard to gauge how far it is. There's a lot of fire. The ground here, like, you can see there's trails. There's places you can move. It's not like you're going to just automatically always be burning your feet as you run. But you've also noticed, at least for this stretch, it's a little less explodey.
Oh no, I'm burning my feet as I run.
You're just gonna go hell or high water as fast as you can.
Well, no, that was a natural one on my dexterity saving roll, so...
Okay. I will also need a. You know what? We're not gonna.
No.
I thought better of something.
You're a kind and merciful DM.
As you take 6 points of fire damage.
Okay.
Going great.
Do I?
Great idea. At least you guys didn't cost the lives of millions or anything.
Well, here's my question. Okay, how do I take that damage? You said it's fire damage?
It's fire damage.
Am I falling, or is it just as I run I step in the wrong spot?
It's just as you're running, you basically just step in the wrong spot.
Okay, as a reaction.
You're really not even trying not you in this case you just oh, there's fire here, you're more engaged with getting as far away from the badness behind you than anything else. So, what is your bonus action that you were thinking?
I just feel like 6 points is kind of a lot right now. Yeah, so as a reaction, can I absorb elements and take half that damage?
Yeah, you can.
Sick.
So yeah, you only take 3 points and capture some incoming energy, blah blah blah. You have resistance to the triggering amount of energy until the start of your next turn.
Right.
So there's that as well.
Right. I feel like that might help.
You use this as a reaction on your turn from damage that you took, so I will let there be a bit of a lag time with some of this because you're not actually in combat, which is kind of how the turns really function. So an argument can be made that next turn, when we cycle back to your movement, depending on your roll, we can have half the damage.
Well, we'll see what happens, but that'll help.
Precisely. We will definitely have to see what happens as you guys are setting this entire tunnel on fire.
I'm so far behind, I'm not gonna make it. But okay, here we go.
I'm sorry. You're all part of the ship, part of the crew.
No doubt.
And it's going down.
Disavow Rinningham for what he did.
Look, there's no way to tell what would have happened if we had touched our torch to the flammable material. Because, maybe...
I wonder how the party would have reacted if they knew Pen caused the train wreck.
Oh, it would have been terrible. At least for Theo. He wouldn't have been with you. But yeah, no, Theo's not happy with Rinningham right now at all.
Yeah, definitely would have derailed.
Intelligence modifier may be a solid 0, but even he knows what happens if you touch fire to something that's flammable.
Okay, now did he know that it was
we didn't know
flammable?
it was flammable.
I mean,
we saw him flick
I
the
didn't know that this was premeditated.
Yeah, he had it on his fingers. And it went poof. Yeah, it quickly ignited and went at
Oh, okay.
He missed. He made a description of if you took hand sanitizer on your fingers and you kind of go into a candle, it'll quickly whoosh.
Slowly.
It went poof, and that's when he decided what'll happen if I touch the open flame source to the water, to the liquid itself.
Okay. Well, that's premeditated then. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, there's no.
I don't know why we're judging. Premeditated. A little aggressive.
It was a first-degree arson.
Okay, you laugh, but I literally just proofread a warrant for arson today. It happens, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love that the whole point of today's session was to get Chlor back with the party.
And we're going to kill him in the process.
And now you are setting him on fire in the process without even
You're
knowing
running down
that he's
this hall,
there.
and everything smells like smoked ham. What is going on?
Yeah.
All right, DM. Sorry, we derailed.
Oh, you did more than that. There's gonna we need to come up with a term for flamey tunnel. Like it's derailed but worse.
Flaming tunnel.
It is Centralia. That is the name of this town now.
That's right. It's the Great Centralia Fire. Oh no, we're beneath a mining settlement right now, aren't we? Well, we were at one point.
Well, it used to be a mining settlement. Then we came to town.
It wasn't just a mine. It was a whole foundry, and you guys are like deep beneath it and everything. So it's
This could be very, 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 very bad.
It's fine.
Okay,
It's fine.
before we run into anybody when we get out, we got to get our story together because we're pursuing arsonists. We're not the arsonists.
Are we still running?
Oh, what about
Yes,
that
you are still
family?
running. So as you guys continue to run for your lives, Bob, you're the first to pass through into that round room, and you can see that the 8-ish foot diameter pit in the ground is beginning to steam and smoke and smolder.
Not sticking around, keeping on going.
I need you to, as the first one into the room, as it's beginning to like waft out, I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Yes. 18.
Okay, yeah, no, that saves.
Later, turkeys.
You smell a worse version of what Renningham smelled earlier, because this one is the burning, nasty version. It doesn't make the smell better.
It's airborne.
Oh yeah. It's got some extra, yeah.
It's been activated.
Oh yeah. This is
this
is some good stuff.
Activated.
If those times that you've been fishing with stink bait, this puts all that to shame. However, you notice that there is a distinctly organic nature to the smell.
Now, when we say organic, do we mean like decomposing vegetation or like burning fat?
More closer to burning fat on top of all of the nasty, putrid, burnt nuts, almonds, sweet, nasty honey, like all of that just kind of, there's even like a slight overdone caramel where you're burning the sugar, and that's a very potent, it's a smell among smells. You have not smelt something like that probably ever, and you were in the sewers. This takes that to a whole new level. But you are running through this room as you're like, you timed that breath wrong, but you're keeping moving. As Theo and Penn pass through the room, I need them to also make Constitution saving throws.
Roll high, big numbers.
Roll high. Oh,
Maybe needs a new pair of shoes.
That's a 19, DM.
Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies.
Nope, 10.
10. You also just time your breath terribly. Theo is used to the athletic activities, so his body is just more. His breath distant between steps, like it's further than yours are. You're not athletic, Penn. It's just not in your nature. So you took a breath literally as the next waft of stuff came out of the ground, and you have to stop for a second, and you've learned that the mushrooms turn brown after you eat them. They do. They hit. Apparently, stomach acid makes the mushrooms that you had for breakfast turn brown. Yeah, and we're gonna leave it there, where you just kind of puked up your guts, and you are lagging a little bit further now behind Theo. You were closer, like kind of neck and neck. You're now lagging a little bit behind Theo. Renningham, coming up the rear, I need you to make an athletics check.
Athletics from me?
Athletics from you, Renningham.
Okay, so it's a natural 20, but -1. Because I'm
Sounds about
very unathletic. My character is.
So you are sprinting as fast as your little legs can take you.
Big legs? Little legs.
As your legs can take you.
The legs that I have.
You don't have anyone else's legs. These are the ones that you have. So you are taking those legs as far as they will go, but it is beginning to really set in that you are not fit to be a distance runner. You are watching as your friends a few feet ahead of you are able to get into that room. You know what that room is like and smell-wise, and you've managed to actually kind of like catch up to Penn, but you've luckily took a breath before you hit the worst of it, but you are now very aware of the fact that you are getting physically tired. Floor.
Yes.
I need another dexterity saving throw.
18. Get at me.
All right. So you're watching as the bugs that are around you, they're trying to figure out, like, some of them are stepping intentionally into some of these trails of fire that are on the ground, and you watch as the others pile over them. They are just taking one for the team so that the others can kind of go. I'm going to let you choose. Do you just keep hopping over the spots that you see as fire and trying to keep moving, or do you take advantage of some of the paths that are created for some of the other pillbugs?
Yeah. I'll take whatever I can get. I will not discriminate against things that are not on fire and things that are on fire.
Okay. As you continue down this hallway and are sprinting as fast as you can and trying to make your way through, there are sections where the fire is just thick, and you watch as the bugs in front of you just kind of create a small bridge, and you can feel the heat underneath your feet as you just kind of also feel the distinct crunch, not unlike large cockroaches just beneath your feet as you... It's slightly larger than your foot is, each one of them, kind of, it's just a distinct squish, and you keep on going. However, the pillbugs are now giving you slightly wider berth than they were before.
All right. Let me know when I can see the end of this tunnel with the room. I don't know how many more rounds I've got, but...
Unfortunately, I'm trying to also gauge that as well, because you're now into the section that the rest of the party started at. To kind of get where we're going with this is like the fire caught up, and now you're... Yeah.
I very much get it.
So let's just put it this way. You're about 4 rounds behind them.
Oh.
We were 4 rounds away from bumping into each other. Is that what I'm hearing?
No,
you guys were walking at a leisurely pace and stuff like that, so it'll probably been...
Close the distance between us. We would have been more...
Yeah, it would have taken a couple of minutes at the way you guys have been traveling, but yeah, now at the full sprints, the full tilt, screeching terror of fire and flames and brimstone. Yeah, no, unfortunately, Kalor is 4 freaking rounds behind you guys, as the hallways continue to, burninate.
Burninate. Technical term.
Hen and Rinningham are now basically closer to each other than Theo and Bob are. So, Bob, as you continue into this next section, you're back to where the ground is a little more rough-hewn. It's not the same smoothness that had been developed before. And the sounds that are coming out of these holes are less wet and gurgly. You can still see that there's glowing kind of coming from them. But instead there's more steam and smoke, and it's a very distinctly pungent smell, not as bad as what you noticed before, but it's in the same realm of grotesque.
Does this steam smell like water or some type of flammable liquid that has just become a gaseous state?
More like there is something burning that has vaporized something that has moisture in it.
Okay.
So it's more water-like than it would be like, oh shit, this whole room's gonna blow.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, I know that's what you're going for, and yes, it definitely looks, with the smoke that's also kind of mixed in with it.
Okay.
If it was gonna blow, you would have expected it to. So
it's scary, but not as scary as it could be.
Correct. Not as scary as what that room is going to be by the time Chlor gets to it. Chlor. We'll see what happens, Chlor. Yeah. But you are noticing, Bob, that as you continue down the hallway, the glows are becoming fainter.
Yay, I'm making good time.
I need Theo to make his next athletics check.
Okay. Athletics? I don't mind that.
Athletics. I know you don't mind it,
That's
but
a 9.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
As much as you have an affinity for nature and the things that you've experienced last night as you were just chilling out and watching the mushrooms kind of do their mushroomy things, think to yourself, this is a pretty cool place.
Oh, it's not cool anymore. I don't like it. I don't like this place anymore.
No, you are distinctly reminded of, like, hey, upstairs, the outside world where the rest of real nature is, that's a much... You might even want to go back to the Bloody Shield and just where all the people are all the time talking constantly, because now your lungs are starting to hurt a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's it's not about the sprinting, it's about the everything else that's going on. It's in the air, it's in the things, and you're starting to feel that burn just a touch. All right, Rinningham and Penn, I need both of you to make athletics checks, because the smoke is still, and the steam is starting to still billow out of that central pit area. Penn.
I also rolled a 3, but my athletics is -1, so it's a 2.
I need both of you to make Constitution saving throws again. Or Penn, it's the second one in a row.
5.
13.
I got a 5.
Okay, so Penn, you are beginning to really distinctly feel the ache in your body from all of this. You are otherwise unhindered. However, Rinningham, that last plume, you thought you timed it right as you were leaving the room, but you didn't. You caught it right as it was and it fills your lungs. You feel it in your hands and in your feet and in your fingertips as it just, this nasty, burning, tingling, gross everything. And you just retched like 3 minutes ago. You don't have much to retch again. Your body begins to just kind of rack with pain as your body is starting to really struggle to keep up.
I'm confused. Were you saying it was fun before this moment?
I don't like what you're saying.
Exhaustion level 1 just is just disadvantage on ability checks. So it's fine. It's fine.
And that's
it's only when you hit one. But here's the thing: is exhaustion level 2. If it happens, your speed is cut in half. So just food for thought. As you get into this next section, you can see Penn, Theo, and Bob running ahead. Floor, back to you as we go through. We're gonna get through this section. It shouldn't hopefully take much longer, and we'll call it a night. But Clore,
I might not get through this section. 13.
Oh no.
You ran it. It was athletics 13. The burn in your chest continues to deepen, and it's beginning to permeate through. Similar before, you'd started to feel it in your limbs, but it wasn't wholesale. You've been running, and the heat is now ahead of you. Before, you were just kind of riding that line. It's just starting to really take its toll, and you also now have a point of exhaustion.
All right, I was gonna hold on to this as long as I could, but I'm gonna go ahead and run as far as I can, and then I'm going to use my last spell slot and Misty Step. And it would have been cool if everyone in the party could have seen it, but they can't. So I'm just gonna do it and get an extra movement to try and just get as far as I can in this moment.
Okay, that actually is going to help you substantially. So
I would hope so.
you are running. You can feel the burn, and you just think ahead of. You can kind of sort of see about 30 feet out a clear section that's not burning as violently as the rest of the ground around it, and you just close your eyes and you just jump ahead. However, in doing so, you are now distinctly ahead of the Pillbugs.
Love that.
They're about, if you continue going as full tilt as you can, they're currently about 10 feet behind you.
That's fine.
Okay. Figured I'd let you know.
It's getting hotter and it's already moving faster than me and the Pillbugs, so.
From where you are standing now, you can see that there is a room up ahead, or something up ahead, slightly darker, so you don't suspect it's to be on fire as of yet, that you are almost at. Yeah. However, if you look towards the ceiling of that area, there is a sort of steam or smoke kind of beginning to permeate into this hallway from that direction.
Oh, that's what I was saving my Misty Step for, but we'll deal with it later, I guess. Just run.
Just keep on running.
Keep running.
Okay.
Keep running.
The fact that you guys managed to not get, any of you managed to get a direct smattering of the stuff early on. I was expecting there to be some real carnage.
Collateral damage.
Oh yeah. So anyway, the rest of the party continues to move forward. Bob, you're the furthest ahead. The air is slowly continuing to clear. It's not hard to surmise that you are definitely getting ahead of this. It's just a matter of how quickly it will eventually start to head up this direction.
Yeah, we're not going to be very popular when we emerge from this.
No. So there's no real checks for you up ahead at this particular juncture, other than give me an athletics check, because you've also been sprinting and stuff this whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's getting close to time for that to start coming into play.
It's just there's less of the other surrounding elements that are involved. At this
Okay, we rolled a 20.
Okay, yeah, no, you're doing just fine. Granted, you have athletics is a strength thing, so you're actually doing all right. You're just like, oh, you haven't had to do this in quite a while, but you're surprising even yourself how well you're holding up.
Yep. It'd be better if I were doing this without fire. I should probably do this for physical conditioning, but that takes effort.
Yeah, like on the beach, where you're running through the sand, extra effort on the legs, for proper cardio and proper, strength training on the running.
No, that's too much.
Salty sea air. No. Okay.
Maybe like running from bar to bar.
Nice. Bar sprinting instead of bar hopping. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Theo being right behind. Can you roll me another athletics check?
Yes, but DM, does Theo happen to notice that Penn and Runningham are kind of far behind him?
Give me a perception check. Actually, what is your passive?
My passive is a grand total of 14.
14. So you do notice that they are behind you, but they're not like substantially behind you. They're only like 10 or 15 feet behind you, and they are still moving. They are still running. You can see that Runningham is beginning to struggle a little bit.
All right. Okay. I'll roll the athletics check. I will, but he's gonna hang back just a little bit and kind of like cover his, his mouth, like cough corner it a little bit, and wait for Runningham to kind of push him along or grab him along or whatever. But okay.
He's still able to move currently at full speed, so there is that. It's just the fact that they both fell behind. I mean, Penn still has goop dripping down their faces. They're trying to run, and now it is Penn and Runningham's turn to roll.
That athletics check was a 21, by the way.
Okay, yeah, you don't feel any worse yet.
Yeah.
I need Penn and Runningham to go for athletics checks. You guys are also, suffering some unfortunate consequences that are a little taxing on.
You said athletics?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it rides a line between athletics or constitution this whole time as you're literally sprinting down, and so we're gonna go with the
11.
11.
Okay, so 10 and 11. All right, you guys don't feel any worse, but you guys don't really feel any better because this hallway, as you guys are continuing to run, the air is clearing slightly more and more, and it's definitely not nearly as bad as it was. Chlor, my guy, Chlor, my friend, Chlor.
17.
That was athletics.
Oh no, that was dexterity saving throw.
That was dexterity. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Do dexterity. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, no, we want dexterity. I was gonna correct you onto the stat I want. As you are running, the flames are pretty continuous now out of the sections beside you, and you get into this room that has an 8-foot pit in it, and there is steam and smoke and nastiness coming straight up. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as you run through it.
Oh, it was on 19 for a second. That's an 11.
Okay. Okay. You were not expecting the particular inhalation sensation that you just had, and the smell and the burning as it went through, and your body is already just not enjoying what's been going on, but this makes you sick like you have never been sick before, as you are poisoned by the gas that is coming out of this thing, and there is a lot of heat coming with that as well as you enter into this. And you can see, as you prop yourself against the wall for half a second to retch, you can see in this 8-foot pit a faint glow beginning to enumerate from below. However, you can see up ahead into this hallway several figures lightly through the mist and steam and smoke that's kind of in that hallway that seem to be running away from the direction that you currently are.
In the hallway. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm going to finish throwing up, wipe my mouth, cough any extra I have, and I'm going to run toward the figures, and I'm going to say, help! Come help me! I'm going toward them.
Yes, I know you're going, but I have to now. I'm only going to give this to Theo. Roll me a
perfect.
Perception check.
That's all I need right there.
Oh, okay. No pressure or anything.
Let's just see how much the dice like you.
Oh, it's a 9!
All right.
My passive is a 14, DM.
Well, I'm just going to follow him then, I guess.
So...
My passive's a 14, and I was hanging back, like I said.
You were hanging back. However, the purpose of your hanging back is steering your focus. It's not like you're
That's
just
true.
scanning a crowd. You have steered
That's
your
true.
focus. That's what I really did. Full disclosure, I did contemplate. I'm like, would Theo hear it? And it's like, yes,
not.
if
He's
Theo
a
was the last in line running, he probably would have just naturally heard it because his focus is not on tracking other things. His focus is on just the running. You intentionally stopped to slow down for Penn and Renningham. Unfortunately, that's where the roll was more important.
All right, I'll follow him.
Yep, there's now a posse of 3, and then Bob, the further and further you run, you find yourself approaching the next room that you know has the protrusion, and you can hear some scuttling. And you can hear some rock scraping and some very distinct noises coming up from up ahead as the smoke and steam coming out of the holes is slowing way down. Yeah, you don't have to make any rolls or checks or anything else. You just happen to be in ahead of everyone else right now.
All right, so things are looking good for me at this point, right?
Yes.
All right, I should probably assess whether or not the rest of my party is getting out at this point, since I'm at a area of relative safety. So I think I should probably turn around, maybe do a head count, something along those lines. Just kind of observe, see if everybody's still there, or if I've lost anyone, or what's going on.
All right.
Just assess the state of what is the state of the party right now.
Roll me a perception check, just to kind of. We're gonna reconcile some details depending on what you roll.
That'll work. Oh, hey, that was terrible. That's a 10.
All right. Basically, you can see behind you that as the hallway is slowly continuing to fill up with nasty air and things, you can see 3 figures further behind you than you expected them to be. Because last you had looked, Theo was kind of right on your tail. Now they're, Theo is back by Penn and Renningham, and they're like full 25 feet behind you. So not astronomically behind, but more so noticeably compared to where they were when you first started running. However, there is a slight glow beginning to form behind them that, you're ahead of it, but the fact is the glow is starting to breach into this hallway.
But it looks like everybody's still making progress coming along.
They're still making progress. It's definitely slower than what it was when you were from the other side of the hallway. It's just now starting to be where it was steam and smoke and nasty that way. There's now starting to be elements of glow starting to form way at the other end that you can kind of make out against the mist.
Okay, so the situation's getting better, but it's still not good.
Correct.
Okay.
Because Penn, Theo, and Renningham are all basically together to assist each other at this point, and within a proximity, I'm going to say that that's basically what you guys are doing, is you guys are still being able to maintain full action and kind of just literally dragging on each other as necessary, kind of sort of barreling. The hallway's wide enough and the air is still currently clear enough that you're not going to get substantially worse, other than the fact that you guys are starting to get exhausted. So we'll just kind of move on to back to Chlor. Chlor, what are we doing?
I'm following them. Following
right.
the figures, because that's the only sort of hope I have right now.
Oh, this is so grim.
Roll me. I hate to ask you to do this. Roll me athletics check as you are coming out of this.
It.
I do actually.
Oh, you're gonna hate yourself more. That is a natural 1 minus 1, or a very real 0. It was nice knowing everybody.
Frick frack.
Is that gonna half my movement speed? That's gonna half.
It is gonna half your movement speed. You are now exhaustion level 2.
Oh, this is terrible.
So
can I shoot an Eldritch Blast, because it can go 120 feet at? I want to hit someone. I want to hit whoever's in the middle of the group of 3.
Look, man, I'm 6'1". I'm a big target.
Well, I've got disadvantage, so even if I miss you, hopefully it'll go by your head. Can I do that?
Yes,
I was kind of hoping that he would do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was thinking to myself, what's something Flora could do?
It's just very much at disadvantage.
Basically, yeah. It's so you stumble now. You're 15 feet as your body is just done, and you just kind of, and this weaker than you are used to bolt of energy just kind of roll to hit, roll to attack.
Oh, that's a 23 and a 24, so I'm definitely gonna make contact here. Sorry.
I'm fine with it, man. My AC is 14.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing, is that did you aim for the largest moving person?
Yes.
Did you aim for, okay. So that is a hit.
That's 9 points of damage to Theo.
I got it. We're good.
So out of nowhere, Penn and Renningham watch as Theo takes I forget what color your Eldritch Blast is.
It's very slight purple, very electricity.
Okay. As this purple bolt of crackling electric energy just kind of slams into Theo from behind, and Theo just takes to it like a quick limp for a second, like, what the? As in the mist, you see a person stumbling off in the distance, almost 60 feet down.
And did Theo recognize that color at all?
Yes, Theo did.
Theo, I need you to roll. This is gonna suck. I need you to roll an Arcana check, because you got struck in the back. You got struck in the back.
Oh, that's a nat 1.
So just leave me.
So
you know you just got shot with something.
Turn around and see what happened.
Well, it might also be closer to the Forrest Gump. Something bit me.
Exactly.
As
They
you
told me
noticed.
that was the $1 million Eldritch Blast, but I didn't get any of that money.
I don't exactly know what the heck that was, but there was
The
something
government
there.
must get to keep that money. I didn't get to see a nickel of that $1 million.
Yeah. I ain't too bright.
But you do you do see a humanoid entity down that way from the direction that the bolt came.
Yeah.
Now, did this happen while I was still observing the rest of the party, or?
I'm going to say yes, and so you also saw this purpley bolt of crackling energy, so I'll give you an opportunity for an Arcana check as well, if you recognize it. The source of which is less obvious to you, however, let's see if you recognize it.
That is a 14.
I'm going to say that you do, because one of the things you were doing while trying to save people from the train those several days ago was watching as bolts of these energy were just getting launched up into the air over and over and over again. And yeah, you happen to recognize it, at least as somewhat familiar of, I know a guy whose bolts are colored like that when they do that.
It prompts enough to prompt. It prompts investigation. Hey, what was that?
Yeah, it's recognizable for sure.
Which means that I unfortunately moved towards the danger instead of away from it so that I can get a better view.
As you head down towards where your party is.
Cautiously moving forward, not running. Like, what the heck? That looks somewhat familiar.
So, Theo, I need you to make... I'm trying to think of what even to have you... You're still trying to sprint. It's a sustained sprint.
Oh, I think he probably would have stopped sprinting when he got hit.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, that means basically the idea was that Penn and Renningham were trying to help... You guys all three were trying to help each other move along.
Yeah, but I think at that point in time,
shot.
like, as soon as he turns around, and he sees a humanoid figure, he doesn't know who it is. But still, he's going to tell Penn and Renningham, keep going.
All right, so that's going to be the case. Penn and Renningham are going to just keep going. However, Penn and Renningham now see that Bob is starting to kind of starts as a slow walk of and starts now running in your direction. Theo, you look behind you and you see, again, this figure slowly making his way forward. Not looking too hot. You still can't make out the features just yet. Oh, that's fair. Chlor, I need you to make another Constitution saving throw, as your body is just not having it.
We're not gonna make it here, folks, with the con saves.
You'll be okay.
13.
You're with the party now.
Okay, you are still able to keep moving at your current rate.
Oh, I don't take another point of exhaustion? Let's go.
Nope. But you are starting to feel some heat behind you, and as you look back, there's a distinctly bright glow in the space that you just kind of breathed in a bunch of that stuff. So you're not far from where it happened.
All right, two more.
Take another.
Yeah, but I'm just.
Or do you?
Well, now I feel like I'm not gonna say I'm fading in and out of consciousness, but I'm losing hope, and now I'm just firing them at will. Not aiming at literally anything. I'm just
sending up flares.
Popping them off.
Someone help me. So.
Theo's not being attacked.
There's definitely a humanoid ahead of you, the one that you hit, that has stopped moving. The other ones are slowly eking their way out into the distance. And for the
No, you know
sake
what?
of-
I'm not firing out anymore because now I need to get as much movement as I can, and I'm already halved, so I need at least. I can't do just 15 anymore and hope to survive. So I'm gonna go 30 because I get 15 and 15 if I use action and movement. So I'll just do that and keep going that direction.
And you are now able to make out a humanoid ranger with a shovel on their back, kind of looking at you incredulously as Theo, you see a rather battered, rather tired-looking hobgoblin.
Theo.
He's kind of slowly making his way out of the mist and the smoke and the steam.
It's a hobgoblin. They can feel the heat coming up off the street. You know the rest of us.
Bob and Theo, I need you both to roll perception checks as you are both facing in Clore's direction.
That is a 17.
Ooh, that's a 20.
Modified 20. Okay, 17 and a modified 20. The two of you can definitely make out who this is.
Ding, the antenna.
Theo, you, after starting to get really tired, after taking a hit, after all this, you focus in on
Oh yeah, no.
Clore, and there's a smirk, there's some excitement, there's a little bit of, there he is. Bob, you start off as that until you notice the roiling color change of the smoke and steam behind Clore. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Yay! We found Clore!
We only just finally found him.
That's the question, but we found him!
As you guys completely took this, as always, I genuinely love you guys. And this is fun, because this is what makes D&D special. These are the moments that make D&D special, of like, I had these little tiny things, I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to have X, Y, and Z, and if you investigate it in certain ways, different things will happen in different... And you took the road less traveled. Renningham, you really did pick the road less traveled. You Robert Frosted the shit out of this.
What kind of
the only problem is that if everyone dies, which is unfortunately still a very real possibility, you can live with the knowledge of that until you aren't alive anymore.
Nah, probably not. That'll be fine.
We're gonna be fine. That's what makes it all exciting.
Clore, Dave, welcome back.
Oh,
and many moons since we've had you
We're
here.
happy to have you back.
But anyway, guys, thank you for playing. And the search for Clore, is it over? Question mark. Is it? Do you actually count as a success? If
No, we have to get out alive in order for it to be successful.
I mean, if it's a body, it's a body. There are plenty of other uses for it.
On that
note.
Thank you,
Thank you
DM.
guys so much
That
for
was
being
super
here.
fun.
That's great.
Appreciate you guys. Have yourselves a good night.